Yeah. I'm glad it started out that way. Because episode 53, we're 1 year old. And the podcast has been able to just about have an episode once a week. Just about. I think we had a little bit of a stumble back at the end of December. But I think I picked up for it. So, but yeah, I need to tweet this out. Your host, as always, Janzer, is here. And we have Mr. Philemon Grundy.
Why do you always call me Mr. Phil?
Do I call you Mr.?
Well, when you start your stream, you say like Mr. Phil or something like that.
Oh, because I start off at a level of high respect because I know it's going to end in just debased, like nothing. I don't even know how much energy I have at the end. I don't know. Fucking
yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That gets down to that, yeah.
So it all goes downhill. The beginning it's everything is the beginning, and then everything just goes downhill. It's not even like a bell curve. It could peak, and then it could just sharply drop off after a minute.
So is that the title for this stream? You know, B3 1 year old.
We're
1 year from here.
1 years old. No, I put hashtag game.
It's all downhill
giveaways.
From here.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here. I'll put that in the description. And we have. I don't know. I can't say Mr. now. I was going to say Mr. Grammaton Dryad, but never mind. We have Grammaton Dryad, joining us again.
You can say Sir.
Sir.
Mm.
Hey, I'll be knighted. Knights are fucking cool.
There you go.
Also, hello.
And that's Grab. Devolving to shit talking. Thanks, Volts, for that. Yes, devolving to shit talking. That's what we do. I said it anyway. It's true.
I feel like out of all the people in the world, nurses do the most shit talking. Literally.
I see where you went there.
Maybe moms, but a mom that's also an RN, the most shit talking.
Yeah, they talk. They have to deal with it. Yeah, it's true. Lower the lower down the chain you get, like CNAs, they probably talk the most shit. Literally. RNs don't really deal with all that much. They leave that to the CNAs. So, yeah.
That's true.
But, yeah.
They all started down there in that shithole, though.
Speaking of shitholes, let's talk about Twitch affiliation.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait.
And coming
super mad, bro.
Because, Twitch affiliates, they just live in the shithole. And they're just destroying Twitch for the partners.
You know what's also interesting, since you also brought up partners? I've noticed that some people, because there's that verified chat badge that we mentioned last week, so if you're a partner, you have this little check mark thing, whatever, so people know that you're a partnered streamer, like in other people's chats.
Okay.
A lot of people have gotten super butthurt because they take it as an offense of self-promotion, even though it's just given to them. Yeah. People have, cussed out partnered streamers for being in their chat.
What?
Because they're afraid they're going to steal their viewers.
No. I thought you meant the partnered streamer was like, don't give me a badge because I don't want that to be I was like, that's kind of weird, but not bad. But if you're saying that other people are bitching about verified partners showing up, I'd be like, come to my stream. I'm cool. I mean, you're showing up I'm a cool guy now because you're here.
Actually, from what I've heard and from what I've seen from some of the top Twitch streamers that I've been watching since this came out, is that most of those people that are complaining are people that just got partnership. So they're just thinking that these people are going to take their viewers, and these same people that we're talking about it, who are some of the top. Actually, one of them is the top Twitch streamer. He was just saying, "Well, get good." Basically, that's what he was. He didn't say get good, but he was saying, "Look, make your content better, and people won't leave you."
Yeah,
it's that simple. So is it like them getting affiliation does not change what you do. You need to make sure that what you do brings more and more people.
Something earlier in the week that somebody had made an extended tweet that talked very similar to the themes you just hit on, Phil.
Oh, I don't remember.
And actually, the other thing that they were mentioning too was that they said the only thing that you shouldn't do, which is an unwritten rule from even before before they had this affiliate program or the little Twitch little symbol in the chat, is that don't just say, all right, well, had fun in your stream, I'm gonna go stream now. Don't go advertise your stream in somebody else's stream. That's like an unwritten rule.
Well, yes, and I can tell you one thing though about that. That's not always somebody trying to do that. That's somebody just being a human being to the streamer. Like, let's say I know Graham, right? And he's streaming. I try to, like, even the other day when I ended my stream and I brought up for like a minute or two, like a couple of lines about like, oh, that fucking Sorig night killer Sorig. And then I quickly said, I don't want to talk about it right now. That wasn't because I was like, pissed off about it. That was because Graham is streaming. And I didn't want to like have the conversation start talking about what I just went through. If Graham brought it up,
else's stream, yeah,
right, then that's different. But then I was like, no, I'm just going to check myself right here. And so I just didn't like answer anything else about it, But I think that's just
I would have just
chimed
in and said, hey, shut up, Graham. I don't want to hear about that. Just play your game and stream it.
Right, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have done that.
I think sometimes that's just a human thing where it's like, well, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
But I've also seen people that do it constantly. Like, well, I'm going to go stream now. It's like, that is kind of a little rude.
It's a dick move. It is a dick move. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a dick move. Some people are not going to do it purposely.
Right.
But you should, let these people know, hey, that's not cool.
Yeah.
So they don't go and do it in someone else's stream, then they get banned, or a bunch of those viewers then kind of, how people are on the internet, they pick up their pitchforks. Hey, what are you doing advertising this? And then you get a bad rep for doing something that you didn't know that you were doing.
Yeah.
Because again, it's an unwritten rule. It's not like you must not do this and it's etched in stone or something. No, it's just something. This is a courtesy.
I was watching a stream last night, and no fucking joke, one other there's people that were just like blah blah blah, do this, do that to the streamer, and the guy's cool with it, whatever. And then someone said, "Oh, what does blind mean?" Like after they gave all these like whatever, and the streamer was like, "Well, trying to be nice about it. Well, it just means I haven't played it before." And in chat, I've been watching this guy for a while, and I've been watching as chat just kind of pushes him around. Like there's and actually that chat has grown to be more of those type of people, because when streamers find someone they can push around, they just congregate there. That's from what I've seen. It's like they just kind of like, oh, I can do whatever I want here. So then it's like, oh, I'm going to start talking politics stuff. And sure enough, that started, oh, I'm going to start talking smack about this other country, or I'm going to start talking. It was like, oh my, and that's what I fear about my stream. I never want that shit to happen, But I was just like, actually, blind is a pretty common term unless you've never had the internet before or watched a live stream before, which seemed weird based on what they were telling the streamer to do. It didn't look like this person had never been to a stream or watched a Let's Play or watched a live stream, They knew what they were doing. I think they were just being, acting dumb or whatever. And I was like, it usually means don't give tips, don't give that unless they're asking for it. Because you're just ruining the experience.
I have never seen the game. I've never played the game. Everything is unknown.
Right.
Don't tell me stuff.
Yeah, unless the person's saying, hey, it's okay. Or you get the vibe based on like, hey, or you ask, or they say they ask you, like, hey, what do you think? Anybody know this? Or, there's a lot of different things. But what it comes down to, I think? People not using any kind of social sense. Just basic social rules, not caring, not giving a shit, not needing to.
A key part of like a social exchange is to be thinking about your audience, and a lot of times I don't think that happens at all. It's like, this is what I'm thinking about, what I want to talk about, what I like, so I'm going to just vomit diarrhea into chat, and then hopefully other people will respond to it, and that's pretty much what it is. Instead of like, oh, I really want to ask this guy how this boss fight went, but I'm not sure if he's there yet. How do I get information without giving information? Like, nobody does those extra steps.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, have you seen the gargoyles? And they're like, well, no, but now I know there's gargoyles.
Right.
So, cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
My take on that, though, is that I think is after working, because I did a lot of work with like advertising or whatever, and then a lot of the stuff you do is like related to retail. So being in like the retail industry and then having to do customer service programs, I think that that's something that probably should just become a part of when you go to school, like a mandatory thing that you do. Like if you do particular
social
courses, you gotta do
norms.
psychology. Yeah, it should
Like
become
learning
a
how to
norm,
how to talk to people.
All jokes aside, because customer service is not
or do your taxes.
dealing with a customer that comes in a store. Customer service also relates to you dealing with somebody else that you work with. So it's all about social skills. So you need to know, like, how do you approach people? How do you respond to people? It's all about being in a certain environments and being able to be social and interact with people on the internet on a decent level.
The internet allows people to forego every
right. But see, that's why I'm saying that most people go to some level of school. You know what I mean? So I think it's something that should be taught, like anytime you're like a little kid, anytime you start to get taught social skills, you know, like, oh, you can play with this other kid, or, you know, you need to share these toys, you know, customer service at that level. You're not gonna call it customer service, but
I also think that probably more than half the time it's not a social deficit thing. I think it's a behavior intention thing. A lot of times I think it's just, you know, usually attention seeking or
that too.
access to something.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that they know what they're doing. They know how to do it. They've experienced it before. It works in a lot of situations, so they repeat it until it doesn't work, and then they get confused and they try something different or more intense. I mean,
they just find streams that it works in. How the hell did we get to that? We were talking about Twitch affiliation. I probably ranted us off the wrong angle. I know it was probably me. I'm sorry.
That's right. Yeah, Twitch affiliation.
Yeah.
I don't stream on Twitch, so tell me about it.
No, I think we were just talking in general. Like a lot of people were. There were some odd things showing up. People complaining about not getting it. People complaining about other people getting it. In the back of my mind, I was like, well, given the basic, like, you know, rules or the requirements they've set down, just about anybody should be able to get in. 50 subs is so low, you know, like. Yep. You can get that in a year, probably, unless you're not trying in any way, shape, or form. So I think the only people that wouldn't have it would be people that almost immediately started.
And all the people that are mad about it doesn't make any sense to me, because a lot of those people are coming at it with a completely bizarre perspective and frame of reference. That makes no sense to me. Even like they come across almost as if it's a limited thing. Like they're only allowing 50 whatever billion 92,104 people, like whatever. There's some arbitrary number, whatever, that they're saying there's only an amount. It's an unlimited amount under these criteria.
Right. And
I don't know if you guys saw it, but when I read those things, I don't see effort or wants it more listed under any of those prerequisites. Right. So really, it's just like, all right, if you hit those requirements, it's gonna happen eventually. Just calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
And they did say they are rolling it out. So you're rolling out, you know, a carpet doesn't start just completely open up, you know, it's gonna roll out across the surface. So more and more people as they go across. You can't just, and the other thing is, you can't just toss it to everybody that qualifies. You need to implement it in stages so that you see how it's working, where you need to adjust, where you need to change as you keep adding people. So in actuality, if you didn't get it yet, it might be your benefit to have not gotten it right away, because you might not have to go through all the rocky road that, you know, they have to sit down and discover what's working, what's not working. So by the time you get it, it's running pretty smoothly.
And on their official release, like, blog post, I read it last week too. It said, word for word, the initial wave of invitations are around launch will be staggered over several weeks. So unless anybody read that and just didn't interpret weeks as what week stands for and took it as like minutes or hours, How could they get, new invitations will continue to go out every few weeks after launch as new streamers qualify for the program. Invitations will not be instant as soon as the streamer meets the criteria. It will take a few weeks. They said it multiple times that it's going to take some fucking time.
There's a flaw in that implementation. You said if they read it. No, you see, reading it, that's the problem there already. You can't get people to read stuff nowadays. So
a lot of people
the first thing you can do is
sharing that link too.
This is raw emotion. This is entitlement. This is thinking that you are better or more deserving than somebody else. That's all it is. It's pure emotion. I think that person over there didn't work as hard as I did, or they're not as good as me, so I deserved it before them. That's literally 100% what it is every time. No matter what angle you start at, no matter what words are used, the underlying implication and foundation of all of their reasoning is they think that they deserved it more than somebody else. They think that they deserved it before somebody else. It's one of those, but it's 100% entitlement, and it's stupid. And if that's your feelings on it, and no matter how you defend it, I've heard lots of different reasons. None of the reasons are inherently false or made up, but ultimately they're full of shit because those reasons aren't really why they're upset. It's because they feel more entitled to it than they see somebody else is.
Yeah. No, I didn't really. This is probably maybe one of the few times where I didn't really feel anything for this kind of thing, because I read it and it was like, well, it doesn't really seem that amazing either. Not that it's not helpful in some way, it literally didn't seem like
right away.
It's not going to change your fucking life. You're not going to suddenly become more popular or get more viewers. Not that I am aware of. All of that depends on you as a streamer. I've seen people that have made a massive deal about becoming affiliated. They probably will have a pretty good stream based on if they do some kind of affiliation party, because they set that up. They put that work to say, look, I'm going to make this a big deal. Whereas me, I didn't even tweet that I got affiliated. I just put it in the Discord. I was like, hey, this happened. And that's all that's going to happen. I'm not going to have I'm an affiliate stream or any of that shit. No, it's just, if people drop by, because there's nothing that changes visually on my channel that I'm aware of. I don't think that it says Twitch affiliate next to my name or anything now, it's just still my channel. That's all it is, Yep. So, so I'm not really sure what's different there.
The other thing that a lot of people don't recognize or think about is that, oh man, how come this person got affiliate? I didn't get it. And then you also have to take into consideration, you got this. This means that you got to work now. It's you're not just streaming for fun now. I mean, if you sign up to do this, this means that you're actually going to put in effort to make your streams, at a consistent level, consistent base, doing it a certain amount of times a week. You're going to try to get viewers. You're going to try to grow, as opposed to just being casual about it, saying, I'll stream when I feel like. All right, yeah, today I'll stream.
Well, that's me.
I feel like playing this game.
That's me, actually. Yeah. What you're saying right now, all of that's me.
And you can do both. But if you actually want the affiliate program to work for you, what I mean, you can sign up for it and still do the same thing that you're doing, because it doesn't hurt to do it. It's not going to cost you anything.
Right.
But if you actually want to see returns from it, then gotta start to work. Exactly. So I've seen a lot of people as well that have become partners, not affiliates. People in the past have become partners, and then they lose people because they don't even stream as much, or it's kind of like, oh, I made it to the NBA, and then you don't play anything. You know what I mean? Got to start playing. So it's like, if you don't want to start to put in that effort because you've stepped up to a level where you need to do something, then you're just gonna just fizzle out and just disappear.
Yeah. See, the thing is, none of this is new to me, and maybe some of the shine is not there for me because I've done YouTube for years. This is going on, I think, my 5th year, maybe. When I got my first partnership with an MCN, I was like, sweet, that's fucking cool. When I got my first affiliation with Bandicam, which I don't think I've ever sold a copy of that under my link, ever. ever. I was like, that's fucking cool. And you know how I approached those? I approached those the way I did in my like business life, and I like typed up like probably way too professional. They were probably like, who the fuck is this tryhard? Where I gave stats, I gave projected like, numbers of what I thought. I did all these things based on what I thought they would want because I took it as business. I was like, well, this is what a normal business would want to hear from me. Why would they not? And also, why would they let the floodgates open to just anybody? Little did I realize that's how that was working with YouTube. Is just anybody get the fuck in here. Yeah. So, but yeah. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know.
Yep. And you also got to fill out your tax forms and stuff.
Sure.
You're doing business stuff when you become an affiliate. So a lot of people need to realize you can't just go and just stream any bullshit and do anything to. You got to be serious about this and
you can
look at it as a business. I mean, you can, but if you want to get returns, you want to get money from doing this, you can't just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. You may not get the results. Here's the thing. Even with YouTube, even if you do put a lot of work into it, that's still no fucking guarantee that you're going to get the view or whatever. A lot of it comes back to the same thing that it does for web, which is you need coverage. You need, like even the B3 cast. I've said it before. I would love if we got more like, people talking about it or whatever, but I have to put more in order for that to actually happen. I think that's always how most things go. Other people can't care about what you care about if you don't show you do. If I'm super blasé about everything, that could be interpreted as cool if I've already made it.
Yeah.
But if you're coming up that way and you have no core group to kind of assist you with that, like I think what's that one Warframe YouTuber that's kind of like a shithead about everything. Oh, damn it. Something with a Q, maybe. Quiet, shy. There you go. That person, I was like, wow, they're approaching this the exact wrong way. But they weren't, because they already had a nod from the developers. They already had like nods from other people up there already. So they didn't have to they didn't have to talk to the community in some kind. They didn't have to build a community. A lot of it was like, oh, these like, look, if tomorrow, like it turns out that I'm like talking with like some celebrity, I guarantee the numbers for the B3 cast would go through the fucking roof, just because of the association. That's why people like to take pictures or get autographs, because it's the idea, I was there. I did this, look at me. It's a cool factor, look at me. Look what I did, so.
But even going back to your same thing with Quiet, you still gotta be careful how you approach your way of doing things, because shitting on people's games, that might be fun and you might get a lot of followers from that.
It's worked out for them.
But but that's worked out for one game.
Right.
Let's say Warframe shuts down their studio. DE shuts down their studios for Warframe.
Oh yeah.
Like, so you want to go into another game? Other developers can look at your content and might think, I don't want this. I don't want to be affiliated with this person that's shitting on my game. If they want shit on my game, go right ahead. But
that goes back to strength of brand, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if that person or company, whoever it is, builds a strong brand, their fans / fanatics will absolutely stand behind them regardless of anything. No, so it just depends on if they can convert new. It's like religions, man. All right. Can they convert new people? Oh shit. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but to slightly deviate, it was, I can't remember the name of the game, but it looks like it's coming out this month, but it looks like The Last Guardian and all that. I can't remember. A new one that's coming out. It has the same exact kind of look, and is a little boy as well.
The Last Guardian.
But that, The Last Guardian, Ico and all those.
Yeah.
Right. But I can't remember the name of this title. But the developer for this game, he went on to like Reddit and read some stuff about like what people were saying about his game before even like got a chance to even. It hasn't even been out yet. But he said if he read that stuff before he got to this point where the game is almost finished, because he had to buy back the rights from, I can't remember who it was, Sony or somebody. He said if he read that stuff before he got to this point, he would have just completely squashed the game. He said the level of insults and hurtful things that people were saying. Yeah, he said that it was so hurtful that he would have just shut studio and just said,
yeah, what's the point?
I'm done. Yeah. So at the same point, I think that a lot of like developers don't really want to hear people shitting on all the hard work. I mean, nobody wants to see people shitting on something that you put all your time and effort and possibly love into putting out there.
Yeah, but it's the norm.
I mean,
you know, it's almost like
you gotta be careful how you come across with your product, you know, on streaming or YouTube.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's true, but I think that it's so hard to. I still think that that's absolutely true. Yet you see what you see on YouTube, and it's. I kind of thought that Twitch was a little like their community seemed to be better. You know, I didn't see all this drama, and all it comes back down to is ego and money. You know, those partners that are complaining and the affiliates that are complaining or whatever, all those people that are complaining, especially the counter complainers. Like if you're a person waiting to be affiliated or you are an affiliate now, you should not be fucking engaging and bitching back at people bitching at you. You know why? You look worse. You look like worse than they do by far. You look like a little bitch. Because they already look like you look worse than a little bitch because they already look like they're being a little bitch just complaining about, oh, how it's like everybody can see that it's not affecting you. Shut up. You're partnered. You're getting you're at where you're at. So if you're going to complain about people that are just getting an option, you look bad. You know, you just look real bad doing that. But it's even worse if you are either an affiliate or looking to be an affiliate, or you know, if you try to counter complain like. Just don't. You are right now as a potential affiliate or an affiliate. You're in a perfect position to look amazing. Don't fuck it up by counter complaining.
Yep. But again, too, I'm gonna say that it seems as though the majority of people that complaining are people that either want to become affiliates or people that just became partners, like probably like last year or just a certain amount of months ago. Yep. But all the people that are the most people I've seen supportive of it that are partners are all the people that are the top people that are making a living from doing this. And they're so supportive to the point where they're actually saying, hey guys, when you become an affiliate, don't go and quit your day job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're giving advice. They're saying, you know, look, this is what you might want to do. And that's what I like about Twitch as opposed to YouTube. It's a community. So people will go on, like people that became affiliates, they said that they have people affiliates in their streams asking them questions while they're streaming, you know, the games and stuff. And they're more than willing and they're answering questions and help them out and tell them, you know, look, this is what I had to go through. This might be a stumbling block. This is, you know, if you're going to do this, you know, you obviously, you know, you got to learn the taxes and the laws of your country, how you can set up an office. It's freaking
to
guys,
be fair,
they don't have to do that.
Same help in YouTube as well. And I even recently, I shared a link where a guy on YouTube was like saying the exact same thing. Don't quit your day job. You know, it's really not any different is all I'm getting at. Like I find romantically in my mind thought that Twitch was better, but no, they're still the same scummy humans that everyone else is.
No, they're the same. They're still scummy humans there. However, it's harder to get a bigger YouTuber to listen to you. I mean, because of the platform as well too. Because with Twitch, I think what he meant is because Twitch is live. I can tell you
this much: if I was a big Twitcher versus a big YouTuber, I feel like my audience on YouTube would run me down a little bit quicker than it would on a Twitch audience, and I think that speaks mostly to the demographics that absorb content through both those whatever. I think there's a lot of similarities, probably mostly similar, but. It just feels like YouTube has a lot younger viewer base. Okay. And I feel like it's harder to I don't know.
I'm glad I'm here because I've been on YouTube longer by far, and I'm going to say the audiences are the same. I think the only difference on YouTube is you have persistence of hatred, aka the comments. And if you have notifications on, because if you run your channel in a decent way, you want to know what's going on with your channel. That means you could wake up in the morning to 5 fucking hate mails.
Yeah, you're
you
right.
know, it's not great.
Yeah.
So you can get run down quicker on YouTube, I think, if you don't know how to handle it. But then again, people say the same thing about Twitter. Like I've heard big comedians say, "Fuck it, I'm not on Twitter anymore. I just can't deal with it. It's too, you know." So I think there is a persistence. YouTube's worse because that doesn't go away in a feed. Twitter feeds, they go away over time. You know. But YouTube, it sits there.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier with YouTube to just leave a hateful, nasty comment and just move on. But the other thing about Twitch as well too is that one, you ask a question or say something, you get immediate response. And then not only on top of that too, what Twitch has is that Twitch has a community. You might have your channel as you might be a big streamer, and then you can have people that moderate for you. So now you got like a community there that even if you can't answer a question, they will answer a question, or somebody's giving shit, they could just say, all right, yeah, ban. You know what I mean? So you got a team like of people that just working to help you out.
Well, the same thing can happen
just
on
you
YouTube.
as a YouTuber.
No, well, I mean, the same thing can.
Team,
I mean,
if you could do a team, but
like that one comic book guy.
There are a lot more.
Yeah, he's got people that work for him. You know, it can happen. It's just that you have the front person that's doing something, and that's always you don't always see what's going on with YouTube. That's for sure. Like behind this, you just see the forward-facing person, whoever that is. There's one channel, another channel, Hybrid Network, whatever. They got like maybe 7 dudes that put out content for them, So they all take turns doing moderating, whatever. I remember on there, like they actually take care of their channel, Hybrid Network. There you go. They had one guy that was like spamming everybody that was saying anything like about the Dark Tower series or something like that. He was just saying all kinds of nasty shit and attacking people. They got rid of him within 30 minutes, which for YouTube is not bad. Compared to like 6 months to a year or whatever. Yeah.
I just think that it's a lot easier with Twitch on a whole because it's immediate, because it's live.
Well, I'll say they're live streaming. Remember, YouTube has live streaming too. I will say that Twitch's live streaming has better options for community moderation and community in general by far than
100%
YouTube's.
agree in terms of moderation.
Yeah. Like YouTube doesn't even have the ability to show support to another channel. You can't go host anybody, basically,
Yep.
Which is a huge, talk about living in a silo, which is what you guys are, what you're saying is like you're doing it on your own on YouTube. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yep. But I have seen a lot of popular or growing YouTube channels that actually communicate with other YouTube channels and do collaborations and do stuff back and forth. So it has the same thing, but I guess it's not as well publicized or promoted or done within various YouTubers as it is on Twitch. I find Twitch just Twitch just bleeds that, as opposed to YouTube just kind of just shows it every now and then. So it might just be a matter of promoting, like Twitch might just do a better job of promoting themselves as a community.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely think the live stuff definitely helps to build a community versus like a forum type environment, which is what YouTube comments are. So, and then people have had communities clearly come out of forums. So I don't know. It could just be one of those feely thingies, and it's hard to objectively, get any actual data out of that. Who's got a better community? Like having experienced both, some days I feel that, like I went into Twitch feeling like, oh, it's full of trolls. And you know what? Within my first year of streaming, sure enough, I had probably some of the worst experiences I've ever had on Twitch, But lately, it's been great. So I don't know. I mean, I've had my dry periods there, where nothing has happened. Nobody's shown up. No follows. No anything. I've had the troll periods, and then I've had some positive times, So I don't know that it's that much different than YouTube, honestly. I think it's just another platform to produce stuff for, and now you have the option to do some, earn a little bit of revenue as well. And I think the whole thing, like I see one particular person that I follow that is always like down on YouTube. YouTube doesn't. Twitch is amazing. Well, Twitch just cut out Restream. What do you think about that? You know, and you could say what you want about like Restream, you know, oh, well, you know, seriously, if you can't stream to both platforms at the same time, YouTube and Twitch, that is Twitch cutting out, not specifically Restream, the company, but that option because they want to make sure their content is theirs first, you know?
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that some people use as a tool to kind of spread around, like to, you know, it's like instead of intensely training on one thing, they're training on a bunch of things at the same time, you know? But
I mean, that's a typical kind of broadcast approach to it.
Yeah.
Because I saw stuff in the same affiliate program where it said that any content that you make, you can't go and broadcast it anywhere else for at least 24 hours.
Oh, right.
To me, I thought that was even a really short window because like if you think,
I'm not bothered
of
by that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that I thought that was great. Yeah, because if you think of network TV, it's like, no, you can't broadcast this shit, period.
Yep.
Or you can't put this online, or we can do it, or they might say, well, maybe, you know, next year you can take out this season and put it on. This time they're probably like 3 seasons ahead. So to say only 24 hours to me is very lenient. But I can fully understand why they would say, look, I don't want you to stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time and all that. So
well,
it's a business.
They're the live
money.
platform. They want to lock down the live aspect of it, you know. So recorded clips or uploads to YouTube is not as important to them now. Maybe it will be in the future. And they have said that their you know, rule set can change. So you know. Well, that's a lot of Twitch affiliation stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I still think that the most people at bickering are newer people. I haven't seen really mainly I should say, mainly newer people. I just don't see somebody that's making a living solely from streaming on Twitch complaining that there's an affiliate program.
Right. Well, I think it could also be desperate people that feel like this is going to do something for them, you know, like it's going to change my life somehow. It's like, just calm. You got the wrong attitude. You got if this is it for you, boy, I hope you're like 12 because you gotta, if you're an adult, you should have a lot of different options out there looking, you know, you have to have backups for backups. That's all that is, you know, but it just seems like it's an odd response. That's all. It's an odd response. So, but y'all have anything to lead from that? I'm looking through my list here.
Well, I was just gonna say, since we're on the topic of streaming, and you said that there are assholes everywhere, you know, just on YouTube. So there is this former Overwatch pro, because he ended his career with a racist rant, while on Twitch. So this guy, he sounds like if he's like, I'll be honest, in the rant, he sounds like if he's like 16, but he's 28 years old. A guy named Dellor Vaughn. Yeah. And he had a stream going on, and obviously things weren't going his way during the Overwatch game. And he just let go a slur of a rash of just racial slurs during this. They put it this way. In 40 seconds, he started to scream. Yeah. Really loud. And somebody clipped this and put it up on YouTube. He said the word nigger 64 times in 40 seconds.
Damn. I don't even know how you can get more than one in a second. I read this. I didn't watch the video, but I can tell you on the comments. I watched the clip
and it was
Well, in the comments for this article, it's a stupid phone app article for Samsung. It's an article aggregator. In the comments for that, people were like, "Get over it. That's gaming. That's normal." I was like, "Oh no, pieces of shit! I wish I could strangle you."
I don't know if they watched that clip or not, but that is not gaming. That is ignorance. Yeah, straight on his part. So apparently, the team that he was signed with, because he was signed, you know, it's not like he was like just playing and on a team. Like he was signed to a team that would make money as an esports team, the Toronto Esports. Right. They learned about the incident, so they interviewed him right away after finding out about that. He said, yeah, it's true. That's me. It happened. They're like, all right, cool, terminated. Get out.
Fucking idiot.
And they said, and they put out a statement saying, look, we got zero tolerance for any form of discrimination.
Yeah.
So then he decided to follow this up by going online. I think it was on Twitter or something else.
Yeah.
And he went on there stating, yes, I fucked up.
Yes.
But he's not a racist.
Right.
So he said the word nigger 64 times in 40 seconds, but he's not a racist and he just has anger issues.
Yeah.
And then goes on to say that he had no excuse for his behavior, but then followed up with 8 different excuses for his bad behavior.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that's like, well, you know, there's no excuse for doing this. However,
yeah,
you know, it's like, or I'm not a racist, but
right.
And then you want to hear his excuses? 1, he was having a bad day. 2, he didn't have much sleep. 3, Twitch was not working properly.
I read this.
4, internet lag. The other team was cheating. Shit talk during the match. He has personal anger issues, and he was upset.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Let's put him back on the team.
Yeah.
I start my own team. I have him at the lead.
Yeah.
We call ourselves the not racist gamers.
Yep. I can
We're just angry.
Want to hear it, but it is first and first, you gotta lower your headset because he screams distortingly loud.
Yeah, I'll check
and
it
then
out.
he just starts saying that word constantly. Like, you know, it's like if you have a little kid where you tell them, okay, you know, you gotta eat your peas before you can go and play. Like they're like, no. You know, a little kid would just say no, and just keep saying it because they don't want to hear anything that you're gonna say. That's how he was saying that word.
Yeah, I'm trying to look him up right now.
What? Where'd you put? You want the article? I can send you. I can
Matt
post it.
Dellor.
I'll put it. Actually, can I put the links in chat?
Yeah. Probably maybe. You can definitely put it in Discord.
Right, I'll put it in the Discord.
Yeah. Okay. I was
put
gonna
it
make you a mod.
So anybody,
yeah.
So anybody want to check it out and see the video. And again,
there you go. Now you can. You're a mod.
Okay. Oh shit, that man got working here. Right. If you watch the video, just know that it's very disturbing the way he said it. So if you're very touchy about, you know, racial stuff or anything like that, like people being racist or anything, just
I wanted his name for the article. Here.
It's Toronto Esports, right?
Yeah.
So is he Canadian?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I don't
know.
Because if so, I didn't hear any sorries in any of that, which is really weird.
He should say it right after.
Yeah.
He should just after every
swear words. Rachel's so sorry.
So
Rachel's so sorry. Yep.
Oh man.
That guy's not Canadian or
sorry. He should just say sorry for as many times as he said it, like right after. Sorry. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah, that was Overwatch, right? Yeah. You got more to this?
No, that's pretty much it. I just think that he's pretty much just a racist asshole, and he's trying to cover his tracks and just move on from there.
Yeah, I saw that. The only reason I asked if you had more of this, because at first I thought it was fighting games, because fighting games often have people like this, and they're esports, and they get all crazy. So kind of not really along the. You know what? We should give away something here, right? Graham's got a bunch of games that he wanted to give away. If you guys are interested in, Graham, you got these from what? Humble Bundle?
Some are from Humble Bundle. Some are stuff that I had accumulated and saved up on Steam. So some are in my Steam inventory. Some are still Humble Bundle.
So for anybody in Twitch chat right now, because of course it's going to be released later audio, I put the list of games. Yep.
Anybody who isn't Volts though, because Eddie just confirmed that Volts is racist.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
There you go. That's the parameters, as long as you're not named Volts and racist. Husk Oklos Project High Rise Data Hacker Reboot, but it's edgy. It's R3B00T. Lovely Planet, Over the Void, and Pixel Piracy. Graham, is there anybody that, let's say somebody listens to this next week, would you still consider giving it to a random person that contacts you?
I would say that if somebody retweets something about B3 or tweet something about B3 that is of a positive nature, I would say that I would definitely consider giving them an option of anything in that game.
I'm going to say that's a parameter. Like, if you want a game, do us a favor and retweet the podcast, or that we're, especially right now, if you're in chat, kind of should.
Even if you're like, hey, what I really like about the at B3 GamingCast
is they talk about racism,
blah 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 blah, and then I'll be like, yes, I will retweet that, and I'll see if you want a game.
There you go. Graham's parameters are a little sketchy to me, but I think I understand what he said. If you want a game, tell people about the things you like about the B3 in the tweet, and then ask for the game, I think is what he said.
Exchange of goods and services.
There you go.
Sex up us with words.
HJ's for everyone.
Give you what you want.
What?
Yeah.
You almost sounded like a little Cosby there just now. You put the pudding in the pop, and you just...
Oh man, I didn't say hot Cosby's for everyone.
They're hopping and they're
why am I pregnant? Wait,
it's good. That means we're setting the right tone.
Yeah. So this will go on for a while. Let us know in chat if you're interested. Do the things that we said, and yeah, there we go. That's the thing. You could also, we do have a B3 GamingCast at gmail.com that we haven't used for quite a while, that people could send things to, suggestions for topics you want to hear about, etc. and whatnot. You can even send in questions you have, or maybe ask for one of these games. That's another valid way, I would say. And we'll pass it through the line. It's PC only, right? Computer machines.
Yeah, they're all
only?
Steam. They're all Steam related.
Yeah. That's because we hate the console users on this channel. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's not true at all. It's not true. But I do have an interesting topic related to hating to consoles. Which console do you guys think is winning the sales war right now?
The Wii.
That's a valid option. The PlayStation, which PlayStation?
Of the 4 variety.
The current ones, right? The PS4? Okay. That's a good guess. Both are good guesses. Would you guess the Nintendo 3DS?
Yes, because I
doesn't really surprise me, but I don't get it.
Well, the Wii U was on there, but at the bottom of the list. The Nintendo 3DS surprised the shit out of me, but then it didn't, because I remember Nintendo people are insane.
Yeah, exactly.
PS4 was next. And there are numbers for this. If you just go look up which console is winning the war.
From what I gather, too, 3DS being portable and has a pretty good game library, and having Nintendo fans, it's pretty much set to automatically do really well.
Oh, yeah. The Vita was on there, but very, very far down the line. The PS4, the Xbone, Xbox One was third on the list, but with half the sales of half the amount of units out there than the PS4. That's crazy to see that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this was an article on GameSpot. Most of my news usually comes from GameSpot, although I get a lot from the phone too, because it aggregates a bunch of junk. But yeah, the numbers were pretty interesting. I was very surprised about Nintendo 3DS. Like, I don't know what you get. Okay, here's the thing. The Switch is not in there yet.
To interject quickly, I'm not surprised. And the reason I'm not surprised is because Nintendo made the Switch. And I don't think that they made the Switch without knowing that there was a big mobile console, mobile market for that. So yeah, go ahead.
No, that's perfectly fine. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I heard a lot about the Vita, because there was one podcast I listened to where there was one guy that really loved the Vita. So much so that they started calling him Vita.
That's fantastic.
And anytime he brought up anything, they would just try to sandbag the shit out of him because, they're like, shut up, yeah. To call back, to go back a little bit, back to a little bit of kind of strange topics with esports and whatnot. Street Fighter V apparently had a stage removed for unintentional religious references.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Apparently, the background music, and apparently this is going to be temporary, the background music in this stage had Islamic chants, right? And honestly, I was like, I didn't quite. I think it's more of Islamophobia, Muslim phobia that is more of the issue. Because I was like, but I've heard things with Gregorian chants, you know? And I'm not trying to make light of, anything, but I'm sorry, Islam and like Muslims, it's not everyone's a fucking terrorist, okay? Like everyone that's Catholic and Christian is not trying to kill every Jewish person out there or, anything. There's a lot of things that a lot of religions have done that are fucking horrible. That's all I'm getting at. So I didn't immediately. I think it's more of the times kind of fear or hatred,
Yeah,
but
I guarantee you, right?
The chant itself, the content or whatever it is, isn't even the issue. Just the fact that it happens to be actually an Islamic one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because it's
That's
like
so
I said. I guarantee you, right? If that scene was fighting somewhere in the somewhere like the Vatican or something like that, and they had some sort of priest, something, some generic sounding thing like that sounded like some Catholic or or something from the Vatican or whatever, slightly in the background,
right?
Nobody would have said anything.
Probably not.
They would have just left that, unless it was saying something this, and then somebody said, "Well, we don't want this religious thing tied in with a violent video game." That's probably most that would have happened, and it would have just disappeared. But I think it's purely because it was Islamic.
It's the current state of things. Did you guys know that The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time had the cartridge itself, when they first put out the cartridge, it had Muslim prayers in the background of a song. And at the time they were like, we didn't realize that's what that was, because they didn't understand the language. And also they had gotten it from like just, like soundtracks that you can just, like royalty, you purchase them for royalty fees or whatever.
Things,
yeah. Well, maybe not royalty free, but they bought it and they're like, all right, stock stuff, There's like, like I said, Gregorian chants. I'm like, well, why is that not offensive?
Yeah, for sure.
Why is that? Why are we looking at all these, whatever, all I want to get down to is I'm playing Dark Souls 3 and I can be the archdeacon and punch the shit out of things.
Archdeacon Blackbeard.
That's right. I put a hat on. Put a tri-point. What is those tri-point hats? I can't remember what they're called. They've got tri-point.
But even old Street Fighter used to have Dallas Simmons saying, Yoda flame, Buddha fire, and nobody was like, oh wait, hang on, what's this Buddha talk? Why is this in here? Yeah. Nobody said anything about that.
But it's like it's the current phobia. It's the current thing to be afraid of, So, I'm not going to get into any of that politics or any of that crap. I just know that that's the reason why, and that's just a no-go for people. When did Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time come out? Anybody? I'm not a Nintendo person.
I don't know off the top of my head. It was in 64, so
yeah.
Late
RPG
90s?
would probably know.
You said Legend of Zelda what of time?
Ocarina of Time. Yeah. I'm looking. Actually, I'm typing. Count says 1996. There you go. So yeah, it's more of a fear of the unknown, and whatever. So, I know that back.
Yeah, I see 90, 98, but it could be 96. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. That was that. I was trying to roll that into one other thing, and I can't remember what. Here it is. No, that doesn't count anymore. Oh yeah. Here we go. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm saying the 90s was a different time, man. People had flat tops and different kinds of fades going on. So things were a little bit more acceptable then. Just saying, but flat tops are coming back in. So who knows?
Well, speaking of 90s games and getting offended, Night Trap. That was originally released, I think, on like Sega CD or something like that. Because I think I had a Sega CD, and I'm pretty sure that's what it was released on. I never got it. It's going to be re-released for the PS4 and Xbone sometime this spring. We're in the spring. So we don't have an exact date yet, but Night Trap. Do you guys know what this game is?
No.
I mean,
But I'm seeing images of it, and I'm
kind of familiar, but I doubt nothing's clicking. I don't know if I have any clue.
I think
I
it's something.
Googled it.
Yeah.
And now I feel offended from what images I'm seeing.
It's, Emphasize, a streamer on Twitch. He streamed a game that was similar to this. It's an FMV type game, and it has to do with like a killer that's killing women that are scantily clad in a house. So, yeah.
So every horror movie from back in the day then.
Basically, they're like, how can we get in on this games media? How do we, softcore porn try to get into the games media back then too? Especially PC CD type stuff, they're like, we can get in on this. And that's funny because, while porn drives a lot of various industries, it never really drove games, It's not like at the forefront making all the money or laid all the money down. The internet? Yes. But games? No. No.
The issue though is that, when games first came out, games were for anybody. And then games kind of got categorized as
children's
for kids and kids, and then mainly for boys.
Right.
Even though a lot of females or young females played games back then and still do now.
Right.
It was very much marketed because it used to put a lot of stuff in like the boys section in stores. I saw some stuff about advertising with that. So I think it would have been a bit difficult for the porn industry to get into games with it being targeted mainly towards young kids or young adults.
Yeah. They tried.
Yeah, that would have been it. That would have been a legal issue. Like, yeah, people would have took them to court for that. People love to sue, so yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was too much in the realm of like being near kids that they didn't want to touch it too much. I think that's why it was PC games for sure that I saw. Like I would see like CDs or whatever. I was like, what is that? Mm-hmm. That looks like porn, but I don't think it is.
But going back to this Night Trap, because I see that there was also like a Night Trap 2 and 3. But this when they started to put those live action things into games where you had actual actors in acting out scenes for a game.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was all of those games I saw from back then that were bad.
Yeah. Full motion video is what I was getting. Yeah, FMV.
So they're redoing this now?
Apparently, I don't know if they're I don't think that they're redoing the entire production. I think they're just making it work. Which is odd to me because it's going to look like garbage. But then again, it is a garbage game, so that's where it belongs. So I think that's okay. For some reason, there's some nostalgia for Night Trap. People tried to get it going on a Kickstarter. That never ended up working. I think it's one of those things, so bad it's good, and so bad and a little bit why? So people are kind of hooked on it. Oh, let's do this, Let's this is cool. No, it's not. Or it's so bad it's good kind of thing. Yeah. Exactly. Some people appreciate the garbage. Thank you, Volts. That's true. And it could be, I don't know if that's one of those games that Twitch would ban or not. I don't think there's anything. There's no skin that's considered to be evil by the Catholic Church that's shown.
Evil skin?
Yeah. If you were, I know a lot about the Catholic Church, so I know what they refer to as
evil areola.
That evil area that you have. Yeah. Don't show it. You will die. Don't touch it. Yeah.
Cover ankles.
Yeah, cover ankles. No, they're not. They're not. What are they? Quakers, or I think that's what they are. Yeah, they're not that bad.
But that's not just Quakers. That's also in other religions up to this day still too. So
yeah. We don't want to talk about them because we might have our podcast removed to remove the background to Islamic chants that we have going on. Oh wait, we don't. No, but this is, if you guys want to branch into something, stop me and go ahead and do it. But this does lead into another article I have here. I was reading on about a study done by ESA, which is an Entertainment Software Association. They got their numbers from NPD, which generally does a lot of marketing, number aggregation of sales and all that. But what would you say is the average age of gamers right now?
36.
30 something. Yeah.
Let's see what chat comes up with. What platform do you think that most gamers play on?
Oof, that's a tough one. I want to say a PC, but
that's my inclination as well. Is
I'm
it
gonna just say
is
PC.
it like more specific than just console held?
Yeah.
In general,
more
you have the right idea.
General,
You have the right idea, like a
'cause-
not a console, not a console name, but like okay, categories could be like console, PC,
could be mobile,
that kind of
phones.
yeah, exactly.
If mobile's in there, then I would definitely say mobile.
Could even be slot machines. I don't know.
36 mobile.
36 mobile. What do you say? What do you say, Phil? You said about 30 something, and
No, I'm gonna say the majority of people. Yeah, I said about 35, mid 30s, and definitely mobile.
All right.
I went on the lower end of my spectrum of age, by the way.
It's definitely not the Vita, that's for sure. So I'll consider a mobile to also be like portable
cell
games.
Phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like cell phone games and all that, you know. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So average age, y'all are pretty much on the mark, 35. And most people actually play on a PC by far.
Oh yeah?
Makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. I know you would think that it would be mobile, but here's the reason why. You got to remember, probably more people have a PC than they do a console, because even if they don't use the PC for like hardcore gaming, they could be playing casual games like Bejeweled 3.
Yeah.
My shame. Bejeweled 3. So yeah, that's definitely, I mean, I wouldn't say everybody, but I would say a lot of people need a PC for various things. Kids going to college, kids in college, kids in school now.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get through schooling anything without internet.
Yep. People going home from work to work on stuff on PC, yada, 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 or just having a PC for, let's say they're running like online business, or they're doing online sales like eBay, for example. I've known people that have done that. Hell, there was an eBay store craze for a while there, I think that went away finally.
Yeah.
But
that's only today, because back in my day, we used to use a thing called the encyclopedia.
Yeah, exactly. So
it came in volumes.
What would you say? Well, actually, I can't ask you. Well, I can ask you this. I can't give you the parameters, so it might be a little bit harder. But what would you say is the biggest reason why people purchase a game? Such things could be like because of the story, because of the company, because of the price, because of reviews, because of production, or like quality or whatever.
Advertisement / looks cool, followed by recommendation / social.
Okay, that's a lot that you threw into one. Okay,
I'm gonna.
The recommendation / social would be like word of mouth, like, "Hey, I'm playing this."
Like, but that's like 4 things you threw at me.
Oh well, the first one is like advertisement / like seeing it, like seeing
experience
the content and being like, "That looks cool," like trailers, ads, whatever.
Yeah. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah. I don't know which would be the reason that they buy, but which would be the top. But I think that reviews is not at the top. It probably not even the second one.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think is? I'm like, what's your answer?
Or do I have specific options? Like
because this is we're not gonna like I just nail you to the ground. Like, why did you not get this?
No, I just don't know.
Into it.
Yeah.
No, I just don't know.
I know.
Specifically. I just know for sure that reviews are not that.
How about this?
If it came up to reviews, Mass Effect Andromeda would not have sold as much as it did.
Okay, so how about this? What's the number one thing that makes you purchase a game? And if that's too hard, that's okay. Just throw something out there, Like, what do you think other people?
Social reasons.
Okay.
Or...
Yeah, I would say probably...
social... Something that has...
SJWs,
RPG stuff. Basically, a lot of content that I can lose myself into. So I look for very specific genre stuff.
Gotcha.
But other than that, it's definitely social.
I can't say because the variety of games I played over the last few years has just changed so much that I can't say what specifically.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I've said why I like games and all that, why I even buy them many, many times. But the number one reason apparently is quality of graphics. Number 2, price.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it kind of goes down. This was based on VG Charts, which is a website, and it aggregates like information about games in general. So on different platforms as well, not just like PC at all. So you can apparently look this up on VG Charts, but it was in an article I found on one of my phone aggregated stories. I'm trying to find it right now, like who put this out. But all that person did was like just go to VG Charts and look at. And I've done that before for like Titanfall 2 sales and Titan versus Titanfall 1. And I've always said I'm a graphics whore. I don't give a shit if that's considered to be shallow. I'm shallow. I want my shit to look good. Like, you know, I don't care how fun the game is. I need it to look good. But that's me, and I don't expect a lot of people to be like that. You know?
I'm really far from number one.
Oh yeah,
I think a lot of people do. Like, first thing people say when they look at a game is, "Holy crap, that looks amazing!"
Exactly.
Or, "Oh my god, that looks like garbage!" Like every time.
Yep.
But I am so far removed from that didn't even think of it. But price makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of that one either, and that usually is a pretty big thing for me.
Yeah, a big indicator. So apparently, a couple other real neat things. $30.4 billion was spent on video games last year. That is amazing, and it's higher than it was the prior year. It just keeps going up. The majority of the money spent was the actual games themselves with hardware. I mean, we're talking about like 23 billion was on software sales versus the hardware alone. So anybody thinking that hardware drives a company? No. Not by far. And this is all, like I said, numbers you can look up online, but I'm trying to find, I'll see if I can find that article and list it. And then one other thing. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I see. The thing is that if you didn't know that, it's actually been that way for years. Like, I guess probably even over a decade, because if you notice, Apple pushed their their App Store significantly more than their refresh of their products, their actual desktops and laptops. Like, they haven't refreshed their desktop, their most powerful desktop in I think like 5 or more years. But they keep, because the main reason is they make a very small profit margin off of selling actual physical hardware, as opposed to having just software that people create and they just sell it.
Yep. Hardware is really hard to make a profit on, and it's been that way for a long time because you can buy your parts, really cheap, and there's so much competition for selling parts that there's almost, if you weren't in on that early, it's going to be hard to get in on that trying to make money. But yeah, you don't really get a lot from the hardware itself. You have to be extremely proprietary.
And then as another example, look at the console war.
Yeah.
They don't make that much money off of selling the actual console. It's for all the purchases of games, all the software that you buy to play on this piece of hardware. So the hardware is their loss leader. Look, buy our new console, it could play all of these games. Yeah. And then you're going to sit down and buy all of those games. And that's where they make all their money.
And that's why Xbox One hasn't been doing as well, because they don't have as many first, title exclusives. I forgot what they call them, first developer partners or something like that, maybe. Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to find this article here. But yeah, one more thing about it. Apparently since 2010, like in 2010, 31% of sales were digital and 69% were physical. And I do remember that I even ordered some games back then and actually went up to pick up physical copies in GameStop back in 2010. I think one's still in its plastic wrap. But BioShock Infinite, sorry. And I even think Dead Space 3, no, just BioShock Infinite. But then now compared to 2016, 74% is digital to 26% physical. It's such a fucking change, and it's really only a few years, but that's how tech is.
It's true, but it's a lot easier, especially like for somebody, for me, like to get a physical copy I got to pay all kinds of duties and all kinds of ridiculous stuff. If I
Right.
go on Steam and buy a game, I just pay what it costs.
Right.
And that's it. And if Steam has a sale, I'm going to buy more of them.
I feel
more
like
variety of games.
PC, that transition seems easier to me
Oh yeah.
than console, just because PCs, I mean, they've made a lot of things where consoles you can just add like external hard drives and stuff for space, but for a while that you didn't have as many options for console, whereas PC, it's a lot more customizable. So
Yeah.
it makes more sense for a digital change for PC to be quicker in my brain, but I think that's true of console directions too.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like Steam made it easier, for PC people by far, and
Absolutely.
yeah, that's definitely a big push there. I'm trying to find this thing here.
And then also Steam opened up the door for everybody else. That
yeah,
the Blizzard app, which used to be Battle.net, you get all of their games, Overwatch, Diablo, all that stuff is on there. You got Epic Games, you get your Paragon, you get everything else on there from that. You got Uplay, so no, it's like everybody is doing their. You got Origin for EA, so it's like, why go in the store and buy something? Just buy it online.
yeah, or even now getting down to renting everything, because I was talking about this with Graham, and GameFly's been around for a while, but Microsoft, Phil Spencer, I believe, the Xbox guy, the head of the Xbox department or whatever you want to call it.
Correct. Head of Xbox, yeah.
Head of the Xbox department.
Guy.
That man, I'm like, Steve Spencer. No, the wrong guy. Phil Spencer, right. He was talking about in an article about a thing coming up called, speaking of, like EA's Access program, how we talked about last time, how maybe not this last podcast exactly, but the one prior maybe, how they had given away free hard drives with credit and stuff like that. Remember, they were giving away to people that had been on that program for a while. Well, Xbox,
for a year, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Xbox is going to be running something called Game Pass, and apparently they've been doing an alpha of it right now, and they're looking to get out of that alpha. It's going to be a $10 a month access instead of $5 a month or $30 a year for EA. So whatever they give, they better be fucking worth it for $10 a month, right? That's $120 a year. The list of games that they have is Fable 3, that they've confirmed so far: Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Halo 5 Guardians, Lego Batman, Mad Max, Mega Man Legacy Collection, NBA 2K16, Payday 2, St. Rose 4 Re-Elected, Soul Calibur 2, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. That's what they have listed now. And they talked about how they want to roll games out into this system, kind of like Netflix. You pay for it, and you have an ongoing access to all these games as long as you pay. And he wants games to be kind of developed for this, similar to how Destiny's developed, meaning over time. So he's even talking about let's say a portion of a game is done. That's the part you pay for, and then you wait for the next episode or chunk of the game, and then you pay for that when that comes out. And I was like, that sounds horrible, the way you're stating that.
However, under the system, it wouldn't matter because you're already paying a flat rate of 10 a month. So,
yeah, I don't know how he intended for that piece by piece, that piecemeal kind of thing.
I would imagine that, for the first 3 months, episode 1 or that first chunk of the game exists, and then they'll add that second one later. Now, whether or not they remove the first one, I don't know. But that's kind of the impression I got.
Right. But the wording didn't say that. He said, you pay for this and then you pay for that. And I'm like, that sounds weird, though. Why, if it's part of a subscription, how do you... Is this an extra fee? I'd have to go back and look at that, but the wording didn't sound good at all.
Unless it gets rotated in and out, because then you could purchase it through it.
Right.
Because you can buy things through the service, too. And then you retain it, and that way, whenever it would come off the catalog, you can still play it because you own it, which would make sense, because then you also are getting people to buy stuff on top of already paying for the service.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem, once again, is they don't have a lot of like first run developers or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not really sure, because that takes developers that are willing to work on that, there and then or whatever. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how that's going to work.
I don't know. I imagine that Microsoft, being as large as it is, probably could put one of their studios specifically on doing that.
Sure, but I think they have, let's see here. I was looking into this before. Do I have that list here? I do not. Perfectly not ready, like usual. Discount and out. Games are downloaded directly to your console, play online or offline. Those that subscribe will also be given 20% discount, kind of like what you were talking about, Graham, I think when we were talking about it earlier, and 10% off all related add-ons. Discounts to add-ons are only available while these games currently in the catalog. So it is a rotating. There goes that. Xbox Live Gold not required for the Xbox Pass games.
Right, which is important to note because then you don't have to pay that yearly subscription fee to play these games. Mm-hmm. However, I'm still under the impression that you cannot access the multiplayer portion of these titles unless you have that.
Oh, the other thing?
Correct. So, like, if Gears of War 4 will happen to be on the catalog and you're playing it, you couldn't play online unless you also had a gold account, is my interpretation. However, to download and play the offline content, you could still do that without the subscription.
Right, here you go. Though you still need a gold membership to play multiplayer. Yep. There you go. That's it right there. God damn it. Where's that list of things? Who do they have? They have Bungie. They have Mojang. They have like one other developer on board with them, and I can't remember. But I know that's why they're doing such a big push for the Scorpio to have better.
I don't
know. Who does Heroes of the Storm?
That's Blizzard.
Okay, never mind. I thought that was
they're definitely not on there.
Definitely not them. Definitely not them.
Is Smite a thing?
Smite. That's correct. I think that makes sense.
Maybe it's Smite.
Maybe it's Smite.
Whoever does Smite.
Somebody will kind of tell us we're wrong or not at all. Well, depending. So, but yeah, that's definitely that's an interesting thing. I think that he's a little crazy because see, there's a thing where most of us have, a TV or a computer that can run Netflix, right? We would have to go purchase a console. That cost first before. So this works fine for people that already have it, but the people that already have the hardware to run, let's say, Netflix, already have that, The people, like, if I want to get into this, and we already looked at this, more people have PCs than they do have consoles, you would have to pay a upfront fee of $300 minimum or something for a console. I'm not sure what an Xbox costs. I think that's about that.
I mean, they're pretty cheap now. I'm sure you could find a bundle for $250 pretty regularly.
But you still got to pay that, is what I'm saying. Like versus I have already got. My mom can play Netflix right now. She can't play Xbox Game Pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. Here's an interesting thing though, because of their push on the multi Windows shit. How much of this could you play on your PC though?
He didn't say anything about crossplay, so I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Because like a lot of games, like that are like considered like Xbox One exclusives, are technically not like Gears of War 4. You can play them on the PC too because of the Windows thing. So I wonder how much of this could also be done on PC, because I'm sure it's probably not everything, but I wonder if it would still apply. But it's an interesting question. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something to look into. If anything, these are just kind of like hints of like, hey, go check this out if you're interested in it, and be wary, like find out. Maybe they'll only try to pick games that wouldn't be cross-play compatible. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that a structure like that for games would be great for like all the older titles that people got to go and get, ROMs and all that stuff to play.
Oh,
you just have all your older titles on there. And people would just buy into that complete. I mean, to me, that would be fit directly in with a gaming version of Netflix.
And
people not gonna really do it for new stuff.
Xbox does have a ever-growing backwards compatible catalog with Xbox 360 titles.
Right.
So it is possible that going back to some degree, those things could be included, but I don't actually know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, let's say, see, I could do that with EA now for cheaper. And I'm sure there's titles there that I'd be interested in, but I don't want to get into another subscription.
True.
Maybe console
there's probably
people
some
would
overlap
because,
too.
Well, maybe console people would because of I think that there's a different mentality when you own a console. For some reason, to me, it feels like more of an entertainment machine. My computer is like an all-in-one everything. It's a workhorse. It's an entertainment machine. It's a gaming, machine. I don't really look at it as a toaster. I look at a console like a toaster. It does a thing, That's what it does. It does games. So maybe I would be more inclined to get a like some kind of subscription because that's what it's for, Yeah. My computer,
also,
not necessarily.
Yeah. The other thing as well, too, is that console owners generally spend more money on a game or game-related stuff than PC people. So
right. Good point. So maybe they would because it's cheaper.
Towards them.
And they could join. They could play the game for like a month for $10.
Yeah,
because I mean, look at it. Usually, if you get a game on a console, it's usually just $60.
Yeah, you don't get the discounts we have.
So sometimes you get some, but it's very rarely. With a PC, you constantly get discounts on Steam, wherever, Origin, wherever. But for console people, no. You just think of it. You're a dedicated console player, and somebody says, "Hey, look, $10, and you can play these collection of games." They would jump on that.
I did GameFly for 6 years or something.
Oh shit! I was gonna say a year. 6 years. All right.
No. Yeah, and that's because I did the math, and I was looking at how many games I was starting to buy a year, and I was buying like 6 to 8 games a year.
Yeah.
And typically, because of the social reasons, a lot of those ones that were multiplayer, I would pretty much be enticed to buy them right away while the population was strong. And so I ended up looking at it. I'm like, all right, well, I'm spending, $6 is $360 a year. Like, that's how much games cost. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, and if I do GameFly and I pay this much a month times 12, then I pay the equivalent cost that would be to get, buying this many games. So if I play that many games, then I will save money. So I ended up doing GameFly for a long time, and I got a lot of money, like value out of it. I played like a bunch of games, even like day one for like the first couple weeks. And then when my friends who like bought it because they jumped on the hype train and then burnt out on it because they OD'd on it in 2 weeks, I was like, all right, cool. I'll just send it back. No big whoop to me. So I actually got a lot out of that system. And then when I started to have less time, I was like, all right, I'm not getting enough out of the system. So I ditched it. But I did it for a long time. And so that's something that, like, kind of like Phil is saying, this system, it's $120 a year. That's 2 games. That's 2 brand new games. But you have an access to 100 games that you don't have to feel bad about picking up and playing and dropping, because you could, it's not that big of an investment because you've already been, just paying $10. And so you could play like 14 different games and be like, yeah, didn't really like any of them. Or you find one that you like really enjoy. And then you can either be like, no, I'm good. Like, kind of like Doom. Like, I played through it. Janzer, when you played through it, you're like, that was great. I'm pretty much done. Like, you didn't need to buy that game for like $60.
Nope.
But if you had a month of it, then you're good.
Oh, yeah. So I beat it in days. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this system for $120 a year, you could get access to whatever. So if you pretty much jump on like 2 games that you would have bought or whatever, I mean, there's in a console mind frame. This could be a really
makes
good
sense. Deal. It's really an old practice being brought back. It's the same way it was for the Nintendo or the Sega. Games were fucking expensive on cartridge. So I do remember how, and I do know now that console games are expensive as well. But I will bring up one anecdotal thing because it just happened to me. I have a subscription of Amazon Prime that I got a free access to. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And I was going to go cancel it. And they're like, hey, have another month free. And I was like, sure, why not? So out of curiosity, I was like, what software is under that? Like, do I get anything, like any special discounts? You do get special discounts for having Amazon Prime. In fact, I found Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin for like $20. I was like, or actually $16.99, I think it was on Amazon Prime. But for PC, full price. I was like, why console only, you cunts? But I think it had to do with physical copy versus the digital. Digital doesn't cost a fucking thing. Production costs for the cartridge or the disc itself for the physical media, they got to still make money on that. They got to get rid of that shit. There's no point in discounting digital. Why am I making a case against Why am I? But I'm not, because honestly, digital games shouldn't sell for as much as they do, because they should be, and they don't, to be fair. So I don't need to make that excuse. That there's plenty of sites out there. We brought them up last podcast too, but I think that it's interesting that I saw that the other day and I was like, oh my god. In fact, I wonder if it's still there. I'll check after the podcast, but I bet it's still that same cost.
But you also said you could say one thing and you have to say the other thing. Digital games don't have to cost as much as they do,
right?
But the cost of making games has gone up, like you stated earlier. The more money that people spend to make games, but the cost of selling the game has not gone up for years now.
Wait, what?
Like everything else is at. No, I'm saying the cost of selling, the price that people sell games at has not gone up past the $60 mark in a long time.
Right, it can't. People won't have it,
which is why we have all the DLC and season pass stuff. That's how they try to make that additional money that they wouldn't normally make.
Right, but then you have assholes like Jim Sterling that are like, it should all come in the game, and you should only pay one price. Well, you need to pay a bigger price then, because look, you were talking about people's work, the hours that went into it. I have no problem with the company producing DLC in advance. People don't like that concept. They're like, no, it should have come with the game. No, it shouldn't. That's work that they spent, You don't know what team worked on that. If it's more content, it's more content. Now, if you don't think that the original game, the base game costs $60, you probably shouldn't buy it. That's on you, not on the developer. If you don't like that practice, don't encourage it. Don't spend the money. Only buy the games that are going to have the amount of content that you want.
In some instances, like I know like Destiny players would have complained about that the game was a lot less than what they said it was going to be, and then they put a lot of stuff as DLC. In that instance, I could see complaining about that. But if you give me a full game, like, all right, let's say you give me The Witcher 3, and that's $60, and then you say, well, look, hey, we got this other DLC and others, and we could put in a season pass, and it's like a whole nother game. I'm like, well, that's pretty much how it used to be. Like if you bought like StarCraft and then you bought Brood War, which was, it wasn't DLC, it was an expansion pack.
Right. Then,
I'm perfectly fine with that. If that's the way they want to do it now and they call it DLC, yeah, give me the content, but don't do like, I would say like, don't do like EA did with like Mass Effect, where they brought the game and then day one DLC content is a main character that the whole story of the game is about. Oh yeah, well you can't play that unless you buy it separately. It's like, but that's what the game is about. That's a shitty move.
Yeah, that's
right
weird.
There. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing was about the what was it? The Protheans. And then they said, oh look, hey, you can meet a Prothean, the actual one, the last living Prothean, but you gotta pay DLC to get it. Wow. But the whole story was about the Protheans. So that's a shit move, but anything else,
you can just live without it. But
yeah,
you could just have an incomplete story. Played it. That's okay.
Yeah, it was a shit move on their part, but yeah, you can play it without it being there. I mean,
the only thing
I'm just gonna watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's like multiple endings. I honestly don't like beating games multiple times. I know people do, and that's perfectly great. But if I ever want to see another ending, I like games that have multiple endings. I think it's kind of neat, but the only reason I don't like them is because it's a personal thing, and I don't like going through the game multiple times, except for like The Division. But anyways, that's one game I went through a bunch of times. Yeah. But that's something I might watch, like the endings on YouTube for, or, like the story for Dark Souls stuff. I don't really always pick up all the story, and I'm not going to do all the footwork required to read. What was it? This one video was like, oh, well, you could find out about this piece of lore, but not if you didn't read about Jimmy's pants or whatever. It was like a really stupid quote this guy did on a video called In Defense of Dark Souls 2, which was pretty hilarious in my book. But the thing that I don't really care so much about is season passes, because season passes do not really fully tell you what's going into them. Sometimes they do. Yeah. In fact, the only one that I remember that did a fucking amazing job about telling you exactly what went in and when it was going to come out was Rainbow Six Siege. They had fucking infographics about that. This is coming out. This is coming out. This is coming out here. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. And we're doing this. You're going to have this release. You're going to have that release. You're going to have that. They said everything.
I'm pretty sure the Division also did the same thing. They told you the name of the packs.
Ah, okay.
They said we are going to release the survival, the whatever.
Yeah, by the time I got on it.
Underground, and then the Last Stand. Like, they said that early on. But
gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah. But the difference that I would say with Siege, though, is that they told you specifically what was coming in it.
That's true.
Like, with the Division,
you're going to get these guys
underground, and then there's going to be that. And
yep.
then, yep.
And then they delivered more.
Them
they always
you a
delivered
brief
more,
description
too.
of what all those things were, too. I mean, but it's harder to explain all of those things as the saying, new map, 2 new operators.
Correct. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it, though? Because all they have to say is we're going to release a DLC for, during season 2, which is, or quarter 2 of this year, which is a, randomly generated dungeon type.
And I think they did that.
Okay.
Yeah,
then what was the problem with people being so pissed about that? Because I constantly hear people say that they don't like the underground.
The only thing I think is that they didn't say exactly the quarters that they were being released. They just said the order. But the descriptions of them, they did explain what they were.
But I still see
just
like
full
people complain about
that's an expectation thing. It's an expectation thing.
But even with the last one, like Last Stand, they didn't say that was going to be PvP mainly.
True.
That is true.
Because that was only announced like a month or a few months before that. They said, "Oh, the Last Stand is going to be a PvP
we had to wait to
oriented."
hear that.
And I think originally they were going to release all 3 within the same calendar year too. So that one got pushed back as well. So
right, but so did Siege. Siege got some of their stuff pushed back as well. I think the difference, like I said, I remember with Siege, in between all of that, as there were updates were going, they did what I'd like to do, or what you do in business sometimes, which is you promise one level, but you deliver more, and that's what I remember Siege doing.
Yeah,
it's like,
true.
Oh, you get all these others. Oh, I didn't know they were. Oh, they're going to do this too. Oh, great. And of course, along with that, they were constantly hammering out balance issues and all that stuff. Great game. It's not that I don't love it. I just got my fill of it.
If they said, hey, we're going to do this and all these other things, people would probably be like, all that other stuff is bullshit. I can't believe that's a thing. So they just added it as hey, this is cool. Neat. They added that for no reason.
Versus here's this, and we're also going to release an in-game store, an in-game currency, like the Division did. It's like, oh man, why are you working on that? Like what you're saying now. People don't want to hear that. They should have just released it and just said nothing about it.
Yeah. See, I think is Season Pass
until the day of
works it works in 2 ways. One is to get people hyped and excited for more content. So the early adopters are just gonna buy it up, not knowing if it's gonna have good content or not. But then there's the late adopters like me that are gonna say, well, I like this game, I'm gonna buy it. I might buy it at full price, but I'm not gonna buy the Season Pass.
Correct.
And then I'll wait and see what comes out in the Season Pass. And then if it's not as good as I think it could be, I'm gonna buy the Season Pass when it goes on sale.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a healthy practice because you're trying to figure out what's worth your money, and that's how people should be purchasing stuff.
Yeah, but most of the people that are gonna buy pre-order the game, I should say, not most people who buy the game. Most people who pre-order the game are gonna probably just go and snatch at the Season Pass.
Right. On pre-order. And pre-order
on pre-orders only, not buying the game.
Yeah. I think pre-orders, I definitely see a lot of the pre-order now and you get the beta access or whatever, so I think that's probably worth it. In fact, I think I have something here talking about beta access. Call of Duty World War II, if you guys don't mind moving forward so we can kind of start moving forward a bit.
Absolutely.
And
this is common, by the way, for a lot of Call of Duty games in my experience as well, which goes back quite a bit in the Call of Duty series.
Yeah, you can get into the beta by pre-ordering, but that's a closed beta. So later on, they're talking about probably having an open beta, of course. But if you want to get into closed beta for that, that's how you do it. You got to pre-order. Destiny 2, same thing. Destiny 2's pre-order, get into beta, which is pretty cool. So, well, to me, I'm like, okay, that gives me something for my money. And other people can look at it like, oh, you're paying to get to be a playtester. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yeah. Why is that a bad thing? How, I'm like, that's amazing. I want to be part of the development of the game in a casual way, Yeah.
And for me, I lean towards what the other people are saying, not being negative. I think if you want to pay to be a beta tester in the game, that's entirely up to you. And I think some people enjoy that process.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't want to pay to be a beta tester for your game.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that I'm so, that I'm such a great individual that I should be allowed to be in your, beta.
Well, sometimes they want to know
something.
Connection information. Sometimes they want to get system data. Sometimes they want to, like what you're doing right now with Mass Effect, like you're kind of pushing your problems to them to have them try to fix the product that they've already sold you.
Because what I'm saying is if you want to pay to get into that, I think that's your right and your option to do. I'm not going to downcry you for doing that. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it. Personally, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But I'm not going to say that you're wrong for doing it. No, do it. If you want to do it, do it.
There you go.
I just don't. I just not going to do it.
Right. Yeah. And you could even say, I think it's fucking stupid because there's honestly nothing wrong because that's my decision,
I don't think it's stupid. I think it's no. Seriously, I don't think it's stupid.
I'm saying I'm comfortable with people saying that it's fucking dumb to do that. I just don't see the problem, and I want to be part of that because I see the value. So
I don't think it's stupid because if you want to play the game, if you know you're going to play the game and you're going to pre-order it, hey, look, you get that added benefit of doing that.
Yeah.
So you technically aren't paying to be in it, but you kind of are.
Right.
But then I think that if you pre-order a season pass for a game,
right,
and you're disappointed by it, then it's like, well, that's your fault. I think that you were stupid to do that. I will tell you that you were stupid to do that. But over paying for a game that you're going to play, and also having the option to be in the beta for it by paying for it early, I don't think that's stupid. I think that's just you just want to get your hands on the game. Yeah. So by all means, go do it.
I don't think that I've had a very great time with season passes, except for probably Rainbow Six Siege. But that is a game that I went all in on. I played the demo back, I think it was in the summer. I remember playing it with Graham. It was like a beta. I had a fucking amazing time. And I can't say that would translate to everybody because I can't say that. It doesn't make any sense that would translate to everybody. But I knew in my heart as a gamer that I love that game. So that was one of the few games that I've ever, number one, pre-ordered. Number two, bought the season pass as part of the pre-order. Like I spent a fucking $100, which is a ridiculously stupid amount of money for a video game for Rainbow Six Siege. And I didn't really know what was in the season pass either. I remember looking at that chart stuff and I was like, yeah, that's cool. It looks all official and whatnot. It looks like you guys are on top of that. But I was more concerned with the mechanics, and I was at that point where I was like, okay, I want to support you guys and make sure that everything gets done. Here's money. Go for it. And then I remember I played it for a certain period of time and I got everything I wanted out of it. It kind of goes back to that whole thing about the Division where I remember reading people saying like, what does a game owe you? I'm like, I don't know that I need to keep playing game forever and ever in order for me to get my money out of it. I played it for a period of time and I'm done with it. Am I dumb for only playing it for so long because I spent $100? I don't feel like it. But yeah, I don't know. Season passes and all that stuff, that's very much like a very personal thing. And all I can say is you can't complain about it if you aren't actively making the decisions that you want to see made, you know?
Yeah.
So if you don't like season passes, don't fucking pay for them, you know? But don't, and pre-order, same thing. If you want to complain about it, don't pre-order. I pre-order like less than 1% of the games that I buy, you know? I'm not going to, I really want to play The Surge. I'm not going to pre-order that game unless they really entice me. Right now, they're giving a small percentage off, and that's not worth it to me. Like a $50 game's not worth it to me right now. A $60 game, absolutely out of my league. You know, I want a sweet spot of about $30.
So question though, if the surge, just about the surge though, if the surge is like, it comes on, people say, yeah, it runs great, plays well, it's a nice game. Are you gonna buy it for $60? Do you want to play it that much, or are you just gonna still wait for a discount?
Well, I know it's not going to be 60. I know it's going to be around the $50 range, I think. And I think it's on sale right now for like 47 or something, if you could say sale. Let me look and see what Steam has it for. $44.99, which to me is still a little high. It's discounted 10% right now. Promotion ends May 16th, which is quite a while. Now I've been looking at this game for a while, kind of like a stalker, being all creepy like. And regardless of what people have been saying, like people, it's Dark Souls. We don't need another Dark Souls. This isn't even as good as Dark Souls. I don't give a shit. It's one of those things where like that girl might have the crookedest nose in the world, but she's exactly right for what you want in your brain. You know, that's how it's purely emotional decisions with me with games. Even though I know all the logic, sometimes there's a game that I'm just like, I need to get my hand in that. You know, that's just what it is. And that's what The Surge is. Now it's not as bad to where I'm going to pre-order it for full, you know, almost full price. Even 10% is not enough to entice me. And I'm kind of, you know what? I'm kind of like more positive about games that don't give you too much of a discount, because I'm like, they probably know it's going to sell well, or they have very good confidence in it. Yeah. I kind of respect that. So I probably will buy it when it comes out very near, you know, but not so much that I feel like, oh, I need to get on it because other people, you know. Dark Souls 3, in fact, has turned out to be one of my favorite games that I never knew I would have such a great time with, because I was thinking of Dark Souls 1 the entire time, but the mechanics of it they're so much better than Dark Souls 1. You know, there's not as much bullshit. There's different kinds of bullshit. So, and I still maintain, as much as the difficult, like it took me, I think, an hour to beat that Sullivan's Beast on the bridge. I looked back at the stream. I think it took me about an hour. But I got worlds of satisfaction. I can't even tell you how satisfying that was. Like, almost to the point of, like, putting down the game and not playing it again. You know? That's how I felt with Ornstein and Smo. That's me, though. Some people were like, I got to play it to completion. I'm like, that was amazing. I'm good. Like, I've actually gotten what I feel like I've shown you. I've shown you what I can do.
And then there's me, who would have fought that beast at least 20 to 40 times, got my ass kicked each time, and then say, you know what, fuck this game, I'm done. Right. And that, that's legit, too. There were fights in that game that I've walked away from. I think 2 fights I've walked away from. But I don't like walking away from fights in Dark Souls, because I like them to be straight up fights. I don't like to have to cheese anything. But that's not a challenge mode. That's just me. That's all that is. It has nothing. Like somebody was like, ooh, challenge. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, here's what happens when I use a sword. And I went off on a sword killing spree. And I was like, that's why I don't use it. Because for me, that's not something that provides enjoyment. I need, apparently, someone to kick me in the face to feel enjoyment. Oh, God. Something wrong with me. All right. Games. Video games. Yeah. COD. WW2. WW2.
You started the segue to COD, but we didn't do it.
I am an asshole. I'm sorry. Put me back in line. I'm sorry. Squad mates are going to give you health and ammo in the game. Did you guys know that?
No, but the first question, does that mean that they have a health system as opposed to the standard, oh my god, my screen is hurting, and then come back to health?
It's going to be, what they refer to it is similar to BioShock Infinite. where you have what's her name, Ellen,
Elizabeth.
Laura, Elizabeth. How she kind of hands
That's
you.
initially what I pictured in my brain, but I was just curious. And
Now the interesting thing is, since you're going to have squad, if one of those guys gets left behind, lost, killed, that can severely impact your gameplay. Like, let's say it's the guy that's running you ammo. You're going to have a lot less ammo to actually work with. The guy that heals everybody. Just, they're trying to make it a little bit more like...
I read briefly on it, and I think for that specific, they are attempting a quote-unquote more realistic approach in the fact that if you don't try to work together to give a shit about your AI, because in every other Call of Duty game ever, they were just cannon fodder, and you never gave a shit about them anyway because they had no real reason to do anything because they sucked.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to, which is interesting. I think it's a nice conceptual change because it's something different.
Right.
But I think a lot of people are like,
people hate AI for a reason. AI partners, because a lot of the time AI partners are garbage. That's why. People hate Ellie from The Last of Us. I didn't hate her. Mm-hmm. In fact, she didn't really fuck things up. Like, if she could be stealthed in front of a clicker, and it wouldn't matter, because as long as you're stealthed, she's stealthed, and the game just registers that, look, we're not going to punish you for this, okay? Look, we know she's dumb. We're sorry. I never really have. I think people just don't like little girls running around, which is fine. Not that I'm saying I like, but I'm just saying, like, I think people hate kids. Perfect. I'm totally on board with that. But Ellie is a murder machine. All right. Look, Joel had to learn how to kill and become a murderous being. And you could see it. You can hear it in his voice. You could see it's impacted him. It weighs on him. Ellie jumps on you like a spider monkey and stabs your face. All right. She's just born. It's natural to her. That's the world she lives in.
And throughout the game, before she gets to that point too, she's always like, give me a gun. Let me help. Let me do it. And I was like, what the fuck? Whoa, little killer. Yeah. Whoa, dear child soldier. Calm down.
Yeah.
And he's being the father. He's trying to protect her from that, even though he has to do it in front of her. I like that dynamic. I don't know. People probably just kind of missed that while they played it or something.
I also think that a big part of when people play, and this goes on to people that I know that have issues playing games with the opposite sex as the protagonist.
Gotcha.
Because when they play a game, they are the main character, and they become super attached as them. It's not like I am playing as Joel. Right. I am playing me, but I happen to be Joel.
Right.
And a lot of people play games like that, and I don't personally, but I think that's also why when I played through the Mass Effect series, I had way less issues with anything regarding anything because it wasn't a personal attachment at all.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. People get really attached to games or whatever. There was an interesting thing in that kind of goes back to this article that I talked about earlier about the types of gamers. Apparently there's more female gamers over the age of 35 than there are male gamers under the age of 18. I'm not really sure what they were trying to do, pointing out that statistic, but I do think it's interesting. Basically they're trying to say, I guess there's more mature people playing video games.
I feel like their agenda is to shift the stereotype of gamer, because the stereotype is young teenage adolescent boy. And so they're like, here's the polar opposite.
Yeah, I need to send this article to every female that I've ever dated and been like, see, you were wrong, bitch. Play games.
Exactly.
When you do that, please come back and report that to the B3 game.
How many slaps in the face I got?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. That's funny.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
It wouldn't happen. I'm not that dumb.
I've actually found out from playing a lot of online gaming, I've met tons of female gamers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I will say yes, I met more male gamers than female gamers, but male gamers tend to be more outspoken or more outgoing. Well, most of them.
If I was a female gamer, I would have learned pretty quick that unless I really want to say something, I shouldn't, because I immediately become the target.
Yep. In a variety of different ways.
That's the other thing too. the female
regardless
gamers
of
that
the
I have
motivation behind it, I become the focal point, negative or positive, or somewhere in the between.
Yeah, I would say the female gamers I've met, I guess it's because like I guess in the mature section of the demographic of gamers, they kind of understand. It's like, oh, he's not a little kid, so yeah, I can let him know, I'm a female or whatever. Or they're the ones that are just like, you could say whatever shit you want. I don't care if you don't like me as a female gamer. That's your problem. They got the ones that are confident like that, and then the ones that are quiet that would be like, or I can tell certain people, and some people they just won't say anything. So
yeah, it's true. It's a variety of different ways. It's
and
like
then, I think it's also too. I think is there's that where they have to deal with the young angry males, or the ones that are horny as well. And then there's also the thing of the stigma of being a gamer is like, oh wait, you just play games, and then being a woman on top of that is like, oh wait, you're a girl, you just play games, that kind of, yeah. So there's a lot of things that would stop female gamers from being a bit more vocal, but I think there are a lot of female gamers out there.
I wonder what kind of neat things that Toronto esports guy would be able to say in 40 seconds about female gamers.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask him.
No.
Me neither. I just wanted to bring it up and be like, yep, insert all of those awful things that you guys are thinking in your head. You're terrible people.
Yeah.
Feel bad.
So COD WW2, I know it's gotten a little bit getting back.
We just keep getting direct. I mean, it's Call of Duty.
I mean, people were complaining. Oh, it's going back there. They already did WW2. Blah. I'm like, oh, whatever. I kind of agree. WW2's been done so many times.
Everybody's done everything.
Right, exactly. But that's life in general,
I gotta say that, and this is, my own taste. I preferred the Call of Duty of the World War II stuff to the more futuristic one. The modern military one, I'm not sure yet, somewhere in the between, but I like that sort of setting. So,
yeah.
But I mean, if I am more likely to give the game more than a 4-second glance because it's World War II, as opposed to generic super future high super intensity jetpack twitchy flip around like a moron setting.
Yeah.
For me, I guess it would be different. Like my favorite Call of Duty was Modern Warfare, and the only reason that was my favorite was because it played out like a movie, and there was a part where you played as a character.
Story.
Spoiler. It's too late to have spoilers. No, that game's old as fuck. But there's a point where the character you play dies.
Oh.
And I was like, whoa, that doesn't happen in video games. So that alone put that game at a level that was.
I'm like, how did they progress?
No, but the thing is, you played
somebody else.
You much like Battlefield 1 that came out where they you could play different characters. You go, you die, or whatever. That was the first game to ever do that. That you play a character, and you played different. I think it was like 3 or 4 characters in the game. When you went to different regions,
right,
and they were all part of the whole team together. But one of the characters you play is there's a nuclear explosion that happens, and that character gets caught in it, and that character dies, and then it goes on to the other characters. And to me, that was never done, and it felt more like how there's like in a movie where one of the heroes or one of the main cast that you thought was going to make it to the end didn't make it, and I was like, this is fucking cool. I like this. I've never seen this in a game before.
Yeah,
and that's the reason I like
Bruce
it.
Willis.
In terms of I never got into the multiplayer really that much because internet connection to the US slower. So that was why that stuck out to me. So
and that game's multiplayer was
for
really
other
good,
people, yeah,
which is why that game did so well because it was really well done across the board.
Yeah, but most people don't play Call of Duty games for single players. So again, my opinion on what was the better of the Call of Duty games is going to be completely different than the majority of people that play it.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I have the original Call of Duty. That would have been, I think, World War I or II. I can't remember. I think it was
still
1.
2.
Was it 2?
I think it's still 2.
Yeah. And I have like the original. battle.
Whenever you watch a really well done, whenever you watch a really well done war movie, people die.
Of course,
main characters in it die. Even the TV series, like I can't remember the name of that show, but it had that song "Painted Black" I used to play at the beginning of it all the time. Majority of those guys died by the time they ended the show, and I was like, "This is war." But then when you play all the different like Call of Duty games and stuff, you play this one character going through everything. I was like, all right, nobody in that fucking superhero.
So them bringing back
a bullet would have killed them.
Yeah, them bringing in this whole thing about squad mates and all that just kind of makes it a little bit more realistic. I know they were also going to throw in some like covering the Holocaust and stuff like that, and people were like, "Oh, they're blah blah." You know, people were for various things. You bring up something, somebody's going to complain. You know, that's just how it is nowadays. But I was like, okay, that's not. I don't think they really touched much of that in the past, and they had not. So I was like, well, that's an interesting thing to get into. It's kind of deep, but I think games have gotten there. You know, if the average age of gamers is around 30 something, it makes sense that games can go there without too much of an issue. It's progressing. You know, it's like any art medium or any entertainment medium, not even art, but just entertainment medium. It develops and grows over time. So it has to have layers to it because the people that are there are they're not single faceted. You know, they're not looking for just one thing anymore. You know, it's just, we need more, you know? So, interesting. We're at the 2-hour mark. I kind of want to run through a few things real quick, just like a fast thing so we can kind of get out of here.
Speed round. Machine gun. Go.
Yeah. But if you guys want some, please bring up stuff. I keep always saying that. Bring something up. But have you guys heard of Perception? I talked about it a little bit before the podcast started.
I wasn't here when you talked about it, so no, I don't know about it.
This is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC on May 30th, and it's from the I don't know how many of the former BioShock developers. It just said from former BioShock developers who are now working at Deep End Games. So that's promising. You know, everybody likes BioShock, so of course they have to attach that name there.
Of course.
And apparently the concept is interesting, though. You play as a woman that is blind. You know, how do you play the game then, right? Because these games are visual. Well, they kind of show like you have like a walking stick, and anything you tap will kind of send out kind of like the Daredevil, like, you know, sonar, like look to everything, you know, or whatever. So everything's blue, and then you can kind of see like a pulse go around the room for, I guess, reverberations coming back, you know, of audio being bounced off of things. So it's like, well, that's an interesting concept. They're actually, you know, trying something different for once, you know. And it's a horror-based game. I don't know a whole lot about it. I think maybe you have to escape a house, possibly, and you don't know really what's going on either. But that's something to look into. Perception, good development team, you know, that worked on the game before. So definitely something to look into pedigree-wise. Have you guys heard of any game like that before? I know I haven't.
No.
There is a game that's like that where you play as a little girl that's blind.
Oh, really?
But the thing shows up as little splotches of color.
Huh. Interesting.
That is interesting.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, because that's even more, I guess splotches of color is a little bit more out there than the whole sonar look of what the game that I saw, where it was like everything was kind of blue with the overlay. It was everything was overlaid with blue, I think. And it looked very kind of like Outlast, you know, a little bit. I know Outlast 2 is coming out, or already did. So, yeah. That's definitely an interesting twist on it. I know there's supposed to be a decent story behind it as well. There's some hiding involved, so it kind of reminded me of any of that horror genre. You know, think Resident Evil. You know, you're powerless in a way. So that's neato. Neo DLC is coming out. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The name of that game is called Beyond Ice.
Beyond Eyes. Did it come? Okay, interesting.
So it's a modern fairy tale about finding courage and friendship, step by step, and uncovering an incredible world, carefully guiding Ray, a young blind girl, on a life-changing journey.
Well,
that doesn't
sound like the world. Oh, that's out already. That was out already.
Yeah, when did it?
2015.
Oh,
11th of August.
Okay.
Huh. Interesting.
So the world kind of fills itself with, and it has a couple of watercolor kind of feel to it. So that's cool, you know, like sonar, watercolor kind of feel.
I'm interested in what that one looks like, but I think it probably may not have gotten as much press because number one, BioShock devs, you know, number two, make it a horror game, you know. So but interesting. For Honor is getting some new maps, new characters, like a new not Berserker, but a new like Viking class and a new character and a new Knight class character. I didn't really read about them, but if anybody's playing For Honor, definitely something to look up if you haven't already. Didn't really read too much into that. Sorry. I do know that Neo is coming out. Neo, the game, DLC, Dragon of the North is going to release May 2nd, along with PvP. But the PvP, like you were saying, Graham, for the Xbox requires PS Plus subscription because you have to have that support for their network. And the DLC is going to be running $24.99. So that's kind of hefty, actually. $25.
That is really pricey.
Right?
I wonder how much content is in that.
Well, maybe because they had to work the PvP separate from the, maybe they did some work on that alone.
Probably.
Hard to say. Like, I don't know how Dark Souls handles their PvP. I don't know if it's like you just use the same rules as the story game, because that would suck, I think, in a way.
Yeah. All I know is that I have no interest in PvP, especially in that game.
Right? Yeah, the game seems like it's long enough and there's enough challenge in there.
That game is plenty enjoyable without adding a human element to ruin it and make me mad.
Well, I think that Dark Souls is garbage when it comes to like mechanics, but people seem to love PvP in it.
Absolutely, which is why you accept everything in PvP, because it's all ridiculous anyway. Oh, that guy teleported across the room and stabbed me in the back? Well, that happens.
That's normal. Yeah, that's normal. Lag stabs and, lag backstabs and all that stuff.
So the brokenness is expected, so it's not as frustrating.
Just learn the bullshit. Get good.
Exactly. Learn how to do ninja flips across the room and then teleport behind someone and stab them in one hit.
This sounds like Warframe now.
I find that's usually the case with most not very well developed PvP games anyway.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like Warframe now. With their garbage PvP. Just fly all around like a fucking idiot, and there you go.
Warframe has PvP? Oh,
I thought it did. Does it not anymore? Did they take it out finally?
No, it does. I just completely ignore it.
Oh, okay.
It's bullshit.
I got this tip from Watusi, who's been playing Sky Saga for some time. It was in Sky Saga as a game, kind of reminds me of a mix between World's Adrift, which was kind of like island-based in the sky type of adventure with a little bit of survival / creation, like Minecraft-ish kind of stuff or whatever. Go around killing things, building things, exploring. Sky Saga Alpha ended. He was in that. And apparently their devs are working on the beta. There's no exact release date on when the beta is going to be coming out. But he wanted to drop that info. So I was like, all right, not a problem, man. I will report on it because I'm not a gaming news network, but I like to pretend that sometimes I am.
All I know about this game is that it looks like if Minecraft was not stupid looking.
Oh, it's much more polished. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you want something that looks more polished and has better textures and all that, it still has a very light color palette. Like, I am very unattracted to the visuals of this game. Like, it's not something I would ever want to play. But it looks very well done. We'll put it that way. For an alpha, it looks pretty well done. I'll tell you that. So it's good to hear that they're actually getting out of that, going into development before they just drop another beta and that kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Do you guys remember that whole thing with Atlas and Persona 5 and its restrictions on streaming?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they changed their policy regarding the streaming. They apologized for the way it was initially presented, and all they're asking now, here, let me read this word for word. We're now asking players to refrain from streaming or posting video past the end of the in-game date of 11/19. But everything else, they're just like, we're sorry. We're sorry. They go on to say, we also want to apologize to those of you who saw the previous guideline blog post as threatening. now
threatening.
Here's the thing. There's an important reason why they had to state that.
I understood that.
Because here's what they actually said in their blog post. If you decide to stream past 7/7, and then it says here in parentheses, I highly recommend not doing this. You have been warned. And then, this was official. That you do so at the risk of being issued a content ID claim or worse, a channel strike, account suspension. So yes, they absolutely threatened. But then they're saying, we apologize to those of you who saw the previous guideline post as threatening.
As a threat.
Well, yeah, when you say, look, if you stream this, I'm gonna break your mom's kneecaps. By that. Yeah, I'm just gonna go over to your Meemaw's house and bust her fucking kneecaps.
Yeah, but hey, you come back later and say, hey, you know what? I didn't really mean that I was gonna break your kneecaps. Like, you thought that was a bit. I didn't want to come off as too hard before, but Phil, maybe you shouldn't do it. I'm
not racist, but
no. Phil actually just brought up a really good point. I think in all fairness, they're actually not only right to have been able to do this in the first place, but they were actually nice about it. Because you have to think about this. In the balance of karma when it comes to gamers online and developers, now, gamers have had the option to threaten death to the developers and their and everything related to that for the longest time. They've been doing that. So why can't the developers push back a little bit? They didn't say they're going to kill anybody.
So what you're saying is these guys showed up in prison and they were like, nah, I ain't going to be anybody's bitch. And then when they got out, they're like, hey, sorry about the way I acted in there.
Yeah. That's all it was. Yeah. They just played by the rules that everybody was showing them. And in fact, they were even nicer about it. They weren't going around saying, look, I'm going to bust your head in. They were like, look, we're just warning you to don't do this or bad things are going to happen, all right? I'm not saying actually, I'm saying that we're going to give you a content ID claim, possibly. But, it's not like they threatened anybody's life. Whereas gamers are like, you're dead, your parents are dead, your family's dead, if you don't get this video game out, So I think in all fairness, no, Atlas, I take them off the hook. Yeah, I'm fine with the Atlas. And they ended up backing down anyway. They ended up backing down anyways.
I didn't take them off the hook.
Yeah, I am.
They were being as stupid. No, sorry, not as stupid as people who threaten people's lives, but they were going along that lines but that was also threatening people's livelihoods.
And I say
money from doing that stuff.
I say good. You know why? Because the original livelihood of the developers was being threatened already. So good.
No, I don't think that there should be two wrongs in there. No,
I do. You got to have one wrong per fist, okay? That's how a fight can start.
I also don't believe in turning the other cheek, so no, fuck that shit. You were wrong. They were wrong. You were both wrong.
Yeah, they're both wrong.
Everybody's wrong.
Well, the sad thing is, the gamers that threaten people are not going to admit that they're wrong.
Of course not.
So I will give them, a 1-up for saying, that they were wrong, that admitting that. But the gamer community that actually threaten people's lives are not going to do that.
Yeah, that's true. They're never going to back down and say, I'm sorry. I was just kidding when I said I was going to cut off your head.
I didn't sleep a lot. I was having a rough day.
There you go. Oh, man.
My Twitter was, not working properly. Internet lag. There was shit talking.
Dude,
well.
autocomplete.
I also have personal anger issues.
Autocomplete fucks me up every time. Yeah, it always puts in things about cutting off your mom's head and mailing it over to... Yeah, it's horrible. Can't stop my phone. Come on, T-Mobile. What's going on?
Mine always wants to talk about ducks. I don't know why.
Ducks or dicks?
Duck this, duck that, duck you, all the time.
Oh. But, how you always want us to interject. I mean, interject because,
please.
Since we only talking to people
I'm done with my topics. Please.
Yeah. There was also this hacker named Adam Mudd in...
Oh yeah.
In the UK, who has now gotten 2 years in jail. So he was responsible for creating software that hacked Sony, Microsoft,
right,
and other people between 2013 and 2015. So his program is hacked. Was it 1,700,000 attacks on things like Minecraft, TeamSpeak, Xbox Live.
Oh, shit.
The program that he sold has the amount of registered users for the program. Cause he get paid. He made this program and sold it, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
The program has over 100 312,000 registered users.
Oh my God.
Over 666,000 IP addresses.
Registered users. How stupid can they be? I would
Um,
imagine they're next on the list.
He earned in terms of, in pounds, I guess you got to do conversion if you want. He earned $386,000 selling his software called Titanium Stressor to all these cyber criminals online.
Yeah.
And then also he targeted, well, I don't know if it's just him or him and the people he sold his stuff to targeted that MMO RuneScape.
Oh yeah.
25,000 attacks on that.
Dude, do you think this is the guy that same software is the one that targeted like Digital Extremes back, and so they had to shut down clan versus clan? I mean, they shut it down.
Or maybe it was his software that did it. And maybe he didn't do it specifically, but
right, that's what I mean.
Probably used his software.
God.
Yeah, and he cost RuneScape $6 million to protect themselves from the DDoS attacks.
Right.
And then he also, continuing his stretch of being an asshole, he breached the network defensive of his school that he went to, because apparently he had some issue with some teacher or something or the other that happened there. And he crashed their network, and it cost them like £2,000 to investigate what was going on and try to figure out, who was behind this. So now in court, his lawyer was saying that, look, he was just an unhappy person in that period of time.
Oh, okay.
And
that's cool.
He suffered greatly. And he wasn't someone who was seeking. He was someone who was seeking friendship and status within the gaming community.
I wonder what he suffered from. He suffered greatly.
And so
was he like trying to go to college and have nowhere to live? I'm just curious. I mean, not that. Oh wait, that did happen to me. Wait, shouldn't I have like hacked a bunch of places too? Hold on. What should I have done?
Issues with like some friends or girls who weren't treating him right, but also too. The lawyer also said that his motivations were not financial, and apparently the court agreed that it was not financially motivated, even though he made.
Did he not make a shitload of money? I imagine
he made £386,000 selling that software.
Yeah,
but either way, the judge said, "Well, sorry, you fucked up, and basically you are one of the people that are making it unsafe for people to be online.
Yeah.
So we need to crack down on people like that." So 2 years.
I would not throw him in jail. I would put him under I would basically put him in jail, but working for the government. That's all. I would have him work as a hacker for the government.
Well, me personally, I think he should go to jail. But
sure, for a little bit, like for night, like a work release program. There you go.
Nah, fuck that. No, permanent.
No, you need someone like him. You know why? Because he's ahead of the curve.
But no.
And the problem is, you don't get any better if you don't get challenged. And he was able to do what he did for years.
What?
No, he could stay in jail.
Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm saying in terms of not the the prison system that you got like in the US. I don't think you should just throw him in there with like killers and those
become someone's boyfriend,
but
girlfriend, whatever.
He should have that level of prison, and then he should be given the option to should be trying to rehabilitate him, because obviously he has personal issues.
Right.
So try to find out what's going on with that, and then also give him the opportunity to redeem himself by helping out the UK government to find hackers and stuff, just like they did in what was that movie that Tom Hanks and
well, there's been a few movies. It was Wolverine was in one of those, right? He was like
Catch Me If You Can. There you go. So give him the opportunity, but I would not give him the opportunity right away. He would have to show that he's willing to make the effort to change his ways and become a better person. And it's like, all right, well, look, no, you're doing that. Let's see if you can really put what you're saying or actions that you're actually trying to do to make yourself better towards doing something positive.
Yeah. Like put him to work after a year or something, like psych evaluations, all that stuff, constant monitoring and all that. and don't let them touch any computer equipment for a year. And then after a year, I'm sure they could work something out, But
I think they should.
I think a mind like that's too valuable to throw away.
Hackers.
What's that?
Follow the storyline of Hackers. You're not allowed to touch a computer until whatever.
Exactly. Touch your penis and you go to jail. Got it. Wait, he's already in jail.
No, go to jail and touch a penis. They're
gonna touch someone else's penis there.
Yeah, then he can have crash burn override or whatever.
Ass burn. Yeah, that's what you're gonna have. You're gonna have ass burn. That's what your name's gonna be.
I know. I seriously dislike. I think probably only with Warframe is where I've actually been affected with DDoSing mainly. Mm-hmm. But I find it's kind of rude and disrespectful. I don't like this game, or don't like what they're doing. They ruined the game, or something like that. I'm gonna DDoS them.
Well, it was worse than that.
And I find it's also a very childish approach. Like, you're not doing it the way I like it, so you can't have any fun either.
Well, I think the worst part was it wasn't even that. It was even more petty in that it had everything to do with the rails. Remember, whenever one group happened to have control of a planet, whenever they got challenged, all of a sudden a DDoS would happen. Or whenever they wanted to take over another side, all of a sudden a DDoS would happen to not let those people, be able to log in and do anything. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why they shut it down.
It's all petty.
Yep. So it's even worse than and first off, it's bad enough to have people be that pissed that they were like, I don't like how you're developing the game. I'm going to DDoS you. That's one thing. But for an in-game doesn't even matter in any way, shape, or form kind of useless, crappy, what kind of low self-esteem do you have to where an in-game planet is that's like what lifts you up. We have control of this. My client, no one gives a shit. Literally, no one. Yep. How bad is in your mind are you? That's something not right there. Bad, like big time. Yeah.
Yeah. But except for the creators of the game, because if people can't play it,
of course,
and especially if it's a game, if it's a free-to-play model like Warframe, then people can't play it. People not going to spend money, so you're losing money. So no, you are actually causing the business to lose money. So right. By law, that's illegal. So you should serve some sort of prison time for that.
Yeah,
that's what I think
absolutely. I think Twitch also, somebody tweeted something earlier this week too, where not Twitch, but there was some site that was selling DDoS time or a DDoS service, and you could and that was targeting some Twitch related stuff, and or maybe it was viewbotting, maybe it was both, and they found out about that too. I could go through my list or whatever. Let me see here. But I always looked at that DDoS stuff as oh God, how can they have that service up online and it's able to exist? You know what I mean? How does that? How is that okay to just be up there as a business? Oh yeah, here you go, rent the service that is going to do some bad stuff. How is that not illegal?
Well, the thing is that he also got a lot. He got a good chunk of that money from stuff like Bitcoins and all that. Because people use Bitcoins to do a lot of shady transactions on the internet. So yeah, so I'm sure he didn't have it out there in the public, but if you knew where to go and look, maybe in the deep net or whatever, you probably go and find that
using a Tor browser. Yeah. Well, I actually found. And this shows how positive of a person and optimistic I actually am. People may think otherwise. I found a positive use for DDoSing. Scammers. I would rent DDoS time to hit the shit out of scamming phone callers. Absolutely. I would just slam their fucking phone systems because a lot of those systems are shitty. They don't have any way to trace the way you think that they might. They actually don't have I've been watching a lot of the stuff on YouTube, watching people troll scamming stuff, it's so good, man. This one guy will hook up one scammer, he'll call one and be like, hey, how's it going, whatever, right? And then while they're talking to him, he'll call up another one and then do a phone conference and then just not talk. And so one will go hello and the other will go hello. oh, who is this? Oh, hi, this is blah. Hi. So they'll just start talking to each other. And sometimes it's the same office talking to each other. It's so good. They're like, wait a second. That's so-and-so. Is that you? Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Look, that's me. That's me. And then they'll just start like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like normal. Like they don't see anything wrong with it because I think they realize there's not, you got to remember, you can't put a lot into a scamming type company in order to make money. You put almost nothing into it. So it's not like they have these massive, like amazing systems to like throw people off the track. No, it's just that they shut down, they start somewhere else up cheap again, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that's what I would rent DDoS time for. It'd be so good. But yeah, that's about all that's about all I got. I don't know what about you. Anything else? Joe?
That's me. I don't know if Graham got
I'm
anything.
Good. All right. Yeah, and I can't find that thing. Yeah, go ahead.
There is one other thing, but I don't have it. I think it's you that have it.
Oh? Oh, yeah, game. Well, you know, not very many people showed up, so that's okay. We'll run what we write right now. Let's see if anybody... yeah, the games. In fact, one of the people in chat was sitting in our chat while we were talking about the games, so he probably already knows. But yeah, anybody that's still here on Twitch right now, so anybody listening later on, yeah, show up to the Twitch TV if you can. If not, let us know what's a better time. But here are the games. I'm going to put them into the chat right now if anybody there is interested in, and I'll do a random drawing for that. It's a Steam game, so you got to have Steam on PC. But those are the games. They're pretty good titles. I'm going to read them off just so people can hear and get upset and sad because it's a 1 year birthday thing for the podcast.
Yeah, birthday down.
Yeah. Free games they're pretty good. Little Nightmares, which Graham was telling me just came out today. Bayonetta, which recently released for the PC. Tomb Raider, which I think is fucking amazing. Astroneer, which is like a in-production type game, but still sometimes people like those kind of games. I know Phil has played a little bit of it.
Yep.
Ori and the Blind Forest, Hollow Knight, River City Ransom Underground. All three of those last titles I think are all visually amazing and really fun. And yeah, anybody actually here in chat right now, if you want one of those games, let me know by saying I want one of these games, and you can pick whichever one of those titles you want. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have like a like a 30% chance or 40% chance of actually getting it because there's not a whole lot of people here.
Yeah, and don't do that bullshit. Well, maybe or whatever. Just say yes. Yes, I want.
Yeah.
Rackshaw's
Rackshaw's right on it. He's like, this is the one I want. Love you, Rackshaw. Love you, dude. All right. All right. Sweet. So we got one person there. I'll leave it open for a little bit, but yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the games. For me, like I'm going to get River City Ransom Underground at some point because I played the original and it was so fun. It's kind of like an RPG fighter, you know? Yeah. Okay, cool. Hollow Knight just looks visually nice. It's like a hand-drawn kind of look. It's kind of a 2D/3D render, a little bit, not quite, like cel-shaded graphics kind of in a way. Side scroller, very somewhat difficult, not super difficult. I don't think like Salt and Sanctuary difficult. Or in the Blind Forest. I don't know how to describe that, but I think everybody has probably heard of it at this point. Visually stunning as far as it's concerned. Some people have said the story or the gameplay is not that great. Even if you consider that, I think most people have. Once again, the biggest reason people play games apparently is for the look. But if that's not your thing, if you like the what would you call Astroneer? Kind of like the alpha beta type releases where it's a survival type game and you're on you're on a planet. Do you go to other planets?
Yeah. Yes, you can build a spaceship eventually and then go to another planet and kind of explore that planet, and then you have different things happening there, and then you can leave that planet as well too. But you have to make sure that you prepare yourself to establish on another planet. Just don't go and leave and go to another planet because then you just be there stuck.
Wow.
So it has some interesting mechanics.
Yeah, and I've seen some of it, and visually it actually looks pretty good to me too. I would actually be interested in playing that as well. Yeah, in fact, This is a list of games that I picked because I would like to play them. Like, this is my taste in games, including Astroneer. I would actually really want to play that too. Tomb Raider, if you like Mad Max, if you like Last of Us, if you like Drake, with Nathan Drake series, Uncharted series of games. That's definitely up your alley. I say Mad Max because I think the melee in it is pretty good in Tomb Raider. And there's a lot of climbing involved. There's a little bit of puzzles. So it's very like Uncharted a bit. But I could quickly see the visceral combat with Mad Max going on there. Bayonetta, well, I already have it. Bayonetta is amazing. And if you don't know what Bayonetta is, well, I'm not going to tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Melee and sex. And shooting. And demons. And angels. So, yeah. Combo
like everything
systems.
You need for a good game.
Oh, yeah. Combo systems. Platinum developer? I mean, did I mention Platinum? Yeah. Oh! Another news thing. Okay, Little Nightmares came out today too. Graphically looks amazing. Going to be kind of interesting game. But another news thing. Did y'all know that Platinum recently put up some Bayonetta clip on their on their channel on YouTube? And what it did, all it had was Bayonetta characters saying a line 3 times, like different lines from the game. Different character said the same line 3 times. Do you have any idea what that could mean? I know it's very vague. And you kind of have to know a little bit about Bayonetta.
Each character had their own line that they repeated 3 times?
That's correct. You have to know a little bit about it.
I am sure there's a ton of literary number pattern things that represent something. But it's been a long time since I thought about any of those things.
I'll give you another hint. Bayonetta 1 is a thing. Bayonetta 2 is a thing. But there's never been a mention that Bayonetta 3 was ever going to happen.
I see here.
So it's not a absolute, but why would someone do something like that? You know, it seems really like a big hint. And this is they've done little hints.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
There you go. Thank you. Finally. Yes. We beat you, Gaben, and we're done. Just kidding. Yeah. So Bayonetta 3, that could be a big hint.
It would make sense. I mean, release Bayonetta on PC, then put that stuff out, and then they said, hey, look, we're going to do a new Bayonetta game.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
That would flow perfectly because especially if they also do it so that they actually release it on multiple platforms for PC as well, because you create that buzz now because all the PC people get to play Bayonetta.
Right.
And now well, if they did do this, now you bring a new Bayonetta, then it's like tons. And not only that, you also bought the Bayonetta on PC, but you brought it at a $20 price tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. It'd be a great marketing. If that is what they're doing, that'd be an awesome marketing strategy.
I agree. I am looking through this really quickly to see if I can find it. But I found out, speaking of Bayonetta still, I found out that in the assets for Bayonetta recently, there's something about a little game that Platinum also developed called Vanquished. Now, that wasn't in the original assets, and people were speculating that could mean that Vanquished is actually going to be coming to PC. Now, if that happens,
the same game you showed,
oh god,
with the guy like propelling across and sliding across the ground and shooting.
Oh yeah.
There are rumors. I heard there are a lot of rumors about that possibly coming out.
Now, somebody said it could never happen but people on podcasts that are bigger than this one and that have been in the industry for longer and all that kind of stuff are saying that's they're looking at that could be what it means. So if they're hoping, I'm like, yes, I have hope. Where I think the last podcast I was like, no, please don't break down my hope. Oh my god, I have such a hard on for that game. Yeah, it's like one of those games, once again, that I've never played that I would love to play, like Bloodborne, like The Last of Us, you know? And I think they were good games, and I don't think anybody could disagree. God Hand is another one. I never got a chance to play that. It's a melee fighting game that is probably one of the best like melee type systems in any game. Or at least fans of that game say that, and it's just kind of one of those cult classics at this point. But yeah, that sounds really promising. Because apparently there was an update done to Bayonetta after it released on PC. And after that update, all of a sudden there was an asset or some assets for. I have to look it up. I haven't actually looked. The guy said where it was, so I need to go look in those folders. But for Vanquish, and I was like, I have a heart attack.
I mean, the other thing too that Platinum Games said too, when they brought up Bayonetta on PC, they said that if it was up to them, all the games that they did will come out on PC. So
exactly right. They
could be a hint that they're trying to push to do that.
Right, and people have said that. People said in the past too that Bayonetta would never come to the PC. Fucking happened. So never say never. You could be part of that 3-man 3-way, and you never thought it was going to happen. What?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I should agree to that.
Exactly.
Like,
that's the whole point.
To myself, like,
I want to make people uncomfortable.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah, wait a second. That's never going to happen. Oh yeah, well, Bayonetta was never going to come to PC. Get your butthole ready. What?
Make sure you bring lots of.
We're going to stick some Vanquish up it. Yeah. Please go look up some gameplay of Vanquish. I believe it was for the PS2. If it was for it might have been for the PS3 actually.
I think it was 3 because I played the demo on the 360.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. So it's that makes more sense too because the PS3 has so much more power as well. That makes a lot more sense. And I have a PS3. You know what I need to get? I need to get like an Elgato or something like that.
Footage I see for it saying as it was on the Xbox 360 as well.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, that's where I played the demo.
Saying.
So I know that it was at least on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, guys, I want to shut this down. I see that Graham already told Volt he's being difficult. Okay, there we are, finally. All right, so let me do this giveaway here. It's 2 people. That's amazing. Awesome. Let's go ahead and do this random. Pop this. And
it's like a coin, a sexy coin.
I'm just going to go ahead and list this here in the chat so you can see. That's what it came up with. There were 2 items in your list. Here are the random order. Volt's number 1. There you go, man. So I will gift you a copy of Bayonetta. Somebody yell rigged. Please yell rigged.
Rigged!
So, thanks for listening to 53 episodes of the B3 Gamecast. And if you have not, go check it out. One last thing. We are on Podbean. We are on iTunes. If you have an option to review us on iTunes, please do. We've got B3 GamingCast Twitter. I post things to the Facebook Janzer 247. But we now have a B3 GamingCast website that I've been working on. And I'll drop the link here, but it's just b3gamingcast.com. Content will be populating that. I currently have only a couple of things on there. But look for more stuff to be happening there in the future. It could have things such as like game reviews. I don't know. If people are really interested in that, we can do a community-run game review stuff. So, or your videos. There could be a community section for putting videos in a, like an aggregate post list or something like that for that. But I know we've got Discord, we got Twitter, we got Facebook, whatever. But guess what? Now we actually have a home for ourselves that is not somebody else's platform.
Yeah, now we just need a MyFace.
A MyFace?
Yeah, for offline social networking.
Oh, a Facebook. All right. Oh, yeah. Do you guys call it that? It's just a regional thing. I forgot. Okay.
I thought it was called My Book. I don't know.
My Book. There you go. Yeah.
I was just quoting Taco.
Oh, right. The MyFace thing. Yeah. Well, what did he have? The EBDB3? The EBDB?
EBDB. B&B. EBDB.
B&B. That's what it was. B&B. Bread and breakfast. EBDB B&B. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. Taco.
I love you guys, my Eskimo brothers.
Thanks, guys, for doing the podcast with me. I appreciate it. We got to pour one out for the homies from the past. Mr. Gamertron did an amazing job for the time that he was here on the podcast. And, of course, the Mr. Count, Shocula. Like I said, the invitation was open for him anytime he wanted to be here. He's moving currently. I know he was put out a tweet earlier today, just dropped 900 pounds of stuff at the dump. I was like, holy shit, how much stuff do you collect, dude? And I think that was the whole point. If you're not following him on Twitter, you might consider it. Sometimes he puts out some hilarious things, and sometimes it's other things. But like everybody, it's like family members, you can't control what they say, all right, but you still deal with them. So if everybody treated everybody like family, probably we'd have less issues. It's like, all right, uncle, I think I'll see you next year.
It's true. And if you know like where he lives, you can go to that dump and get that 1/3 of an elephant that he left behind.
There you go. It's the dick. All right, we're out of here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. If you did, please do us a favor. Follow us on Twitter, retweet. The promotion thing is a huge thing. Check out patreon.com, Janzer, if you want to support the podcast in a monetary way. I appreciate it. And that's it. I'm done. Guys, they can find you where? Graham?
You can find me on... Oh, wow.
Phil?
I'm not Graham.
I figured I'd reverse order because, to be fair...
Graham, where can I find you?
You can find me on various places known as Grammaton Dryad. On Twitch, it is twitch.tv /Grammaton_Dryad. Right.
Graham is doing a great thing for not really, well, I guess, yeah, a person that hangs out in the B3 community. He's trying to raise a little bit of money for someone to head out to TwitchCon when that happens. So drop by his stream and see what that's all about if you're not a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. All right. Phil, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Philemon Grundy. 246. You can find me there. And yeah, I haven't put anything up for a little bit, but I have some content that I'm looking to put out. So go watch my videos and yeah, post some interesting comments on them if you want. Just don't tell me that I'm stupid, because then I will call you out.
You're asking for it, man. There's also links to everybody that's been on the podcast where to find, including Mr. 109 Volts, Dogman and Psycho Cinematics, everybody, Grindhead Jim, everybody that's ever contributed to the podcast in some way. Go to the b3gamingcast.com. You can see who was on the podcast, what episodes they were on. I got to fill out some for Volts because he's been a contributor to the podcast off and on, and so I got to find all his contributions there. But I've got links there to people's stuff as well. And I swear this is the last time I'm going to say this is it. We're shutting down the stream here, and thanks for listening.
Later.
Graham says bye.
No.